Does that mean I can go for a? Her mouth was covered by Calico, who shook her head and said she is in heat right now and Naruto is the first male to come by in about 3 years, so don't mind her. Naruto started to back away and all three women looked at him curiously and he said, "You're not going to tie me to a bed and screw me until I'm dead, are you?" Making all three women look at each other. Nan asked, "What do you mean, Naruto?" Naruto sighed and said, "Well, I remember when Hana commented that she was in heat, she was going to screw Kakashi until he was dead, so I thought with the way you were talking I might be in trouble." Nan walked over and hugged him and said, "Don't worry, you're not." As she slipped a kunai out of his weapons pouch, before she realized what she did, and Calico said, "Don't worry. It will take about a day for your brain to sort out the weasel's thoughts, and then you will be fine." She nods and everyone goes inside and eats breakfast and Naruto and Nan quickly left. About an hour later Naruto asked, "So, when are you going to drop the shapeshift and return to normal?" Nan asked, "What do you mean?" Naruto said, "You turned your body into that of you in the future." Nan looked down and said, "And so are you." Naruto sighed before he said, "I thought you might be embarrassed to be seen with someone short like me, after all I am still only 9. Nan smiled and said, "I'm 14, big deal, my brother will be 8 in a few months, and when you are technically a demon age doesn't matter, and don't worry about Yujito. I will talk to her when we meet the others, and explain to her about having her demon change over." Naruto asked, "Not that I mind, but where is she, and where is Kisame, and how did you know what happened to me?" Nan smiled and said, "It's been 3 months since you were attacked. I found you in a month." Danzo fled the leaf with some of his men and a lot of the council members retired, since the third said if he found any of them had connections to Danzo he would have them publicly killed. Yujito and Kisame are both in wave with Angel. "I heard you bagged Sasori." Naruto nods and said, "Yeah, and I've got 2 of his favorite puppets to use later." Nan looked around and stopped in her tracks and said, "What do you want to do about us?" Naruto said, "It's your choice, Tenshinhan." Nan closed her eyes trying to keep from blushing and said, "I don't know why, but I feel safe with you. It could be that you know what it's like for me, or it could be that we are both tired of being alone, or it could be just physical attraction." Naruto walked over to her and put his arm around her back, pulling her closer to him, and said, "Or it could be a combination of all 3, and our love was meant to be, and no matter age or time period we know where we belong. With each other." Nan put her finger to her chin and looked at the sky and said, "I will have to think about that." Naruto smiled and kissed her, making her eyes go wide before they closed, and she returned the kiss and she pulled back and said, "There's no way in hell that came from a 9-year-old. Naruto said, "My mind is in its late 20s, and my body turns to whatever age I appear when I shapeshift, and I prefer my 17-year-old body." As he was still only a few inches from her lips, though they were the same height. She asked, "And does that work for everyone?" Naruto smiled and said, "Yes." As he moved closer and continued, "You know that you're like a bad drug, right? One taste is all it takes to become." As he pressed his lips to hers and traced her back with his hands. She returned the kiss and put her hands behind his back, pulling him closer to her as they both enjoyed their kiss. Unfortunately, the ability to breath is a requirement, and eventually they broke apart, gasping for air. Nan, through avlited eyes, asked, "Why is it all my defenses go away when I'm with you, and when I'm not you are on my mind?" Naruto shook his head and said, "I don't know. You not just on my mind, but you have consumed it." Nan pulled away and said, "We need to stop, because if we continue, I won't be able to stop, and am not ready for this." As she held her hand on his chest trying to put up a good front, though the tremble her legs gave made Naruto realize how close to going over she was, but respected her and said okay. As he backed a few steps back. She smiled and let out a breath with her eyes closed when she felt herself being swept off her feet, and she squealed and opened her eyes and said, "It's a long way to wave, so let me carry you for a while." As he took off into the trees. She sighed and nods before laying her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat and thinking how they got so close so quick. A few days later Angel was sitting in a tree looking down at the crowd, and Kisame asked, "Should we interfere yet?" Angel looked around and said, "Not yet. It has to be right as they're about to kill Kaiza." Gata said, "And this is why you should never try and disobey me. I can kill you all, even if you are a feudal lord or a hero." "Kill him." And two men drew their swords and a single leaf floated into the cage where they were about to behead the man tied to a stake, and suddenly fire erupted from inside the cage and there stood two individuals back to back with a kunai in the head of a swordsman that was facing them. Angel smirked and said your entrance would have been good. Tier was better. As she looked and saw Naruto and Nan standing there and both looked in their older bodies, and Naruto had his Arankar Kage look and said, so did you hear enough? Looking back over the crowd to a man that was standing on top of a building that everyone recognized as the feudal lord of Wave, Kanpachi Koi. Kanpachi said yes. Please arrest that man and see to his punishment, and I agree to what you proposed. Kage smirked behind his mask as he grabbed Gata holding him into the air by one arm and said, Yo Kisame, think you and Angel can interrogate this little bastard and get some of the people of Wave their money back. Angel stood with an evil grin and jumped from the tree she was hiding in and used Leaf Shushin to appear next to Kage and grabbed Gatu and said, I think a visit to all 9 levels of hell should do it. As she jumped up to where Kisame was. Nan turned and said, relax Kaiza, we're here to help. As she cut the ropes holding him in place and Kage broke the lock on the cage, and Inari along with Tsunami and Tazuna ran in beside him, and Kage grabbed Tazuna and asked, I heard you're a bridge builder, is this correct? Tazuna was shocked a moment and everyone was looking to see what these strangers would do, and Tazuna said yes, why? Kage said, I have made a deal with the feudal lord and I am looking for someone to build a bridge to the mainland. I have money and resources so that way people like Gata will never be able to capture the people of Wave again. A man in the crowd asked, why are you doing this? Kanpachi said, people of Wave, listen to me. I made a mistake in trusting Gatu, but I will not make the same mistake again. The man there is known as Arankar Kage and he has agreed to help the people of Wave by not only building a bridge to the mainland but also building a hospital who will be set up by the world-famous medic Tsunade 2 school, as well as giving a trade agreement between Wave and Spring Country. In return, the people he is with are going to build a new village here in Wave to start a new life, and the village will also not only help the country recover but protect itself. I would like to be the first to tell you that the village shall be the ninja village hidden in the waves, and as a sign of trust they will not even start working on their new home until the new bridge is built. Everyone was stunned and Kaiza asked, why are you wanting to build a ninja village here? Making everyone look at him. Kage said, simple. You all have seen what happens when people are oppressed by evil people like Gata there. 95% of the people who will live in this new village have lived under the oppression nearly all their lives. Their leader has hired assassin to kill their children, poison their foods, beat them and refuse them the basics of living. It is for these people and all people who are treated unfairly that I have gathered allies to help create a new home for them. When I heard about Gatu and looked what he done in other places, I refused to sit back and let him do that here, so I confronted the feudal lord and brought him here to see it for himself, so he can't be tricked by people who spoke of deals and never followed through. He wants what's best for its people. I want what's best for not only the people of Wave, but the world. In a commanding, prideful voice of someone who leads an army who follow without a doubt. The people let out a cheer and said, 3 cheers for our hero. Kage flared his chakra making everyone jump back, and he said, I am not the hero here today. It is you and your family, your children, and the men who would not only fight to protect what is precious to them but are willing to die to make sure their family is safe. If you want a hero, to follow this man right here. Pointing to Kaiza. Kage then looked around and saw everyone thinking, and he asked, how long would it take you to make up plans for the bridge of Wave Country, Tazuna? Tazuna flinched a moment and said, how big do you want it? Kage smirked behind his mask and said, big enough for wagons to go both ways on the bridge, so that way the people of Wave will have not only import of goods, but once they get back on their feet and new jobs start as new industry come in, they can also export at the same time. Making everyone wide-eyed. Kage asked, so how long? Tazuna said, I can have them drawn up in a week, but supplies might be a problem. Kage said, in 7 days, I shall have 20 ships full of material here to begin building this bridge, and I will pay you $15.00 an hour to supervise the construction of it, and I will pay $10 an hour to each person who works on labor and $5 to any woman who want to help deliver food and water to workers, and everyone will get 2 paid 15-minute breaks a day and an hour lunch, in which I have a group of traveling ramen chefs who will cook for everyone who works on this bridge. Now if you are interested in it, then show up in 1 week's time ready to work. Anyone who would like to learn to be a medic at a hospital or a teacher at an academy, we will begin interviewing in 3 weeks' time. That's all I have to say, and have a great day. Thank you again for coming, feudal lord. As he bowed and grabbed the hand of Nan, who was smiling, and they both jumped up into the tree. Angel was with a passed-out Gato and Kisame. Nan asked, "Where's Yujito?" As she looked around. Kisame said she is with Tsunade, Shizune, and Haku. Kage sighed and said, "What the hell are they doing here already?" Kisame said they came here about a month ago after Jiraiya informed them of your disappearance, and they came here since this was the most likely spot for you to show up. Kage asked, "So where are they?" Kisame said, "We got a small house about 5 miles north of here, hidden." Kage smiled and said, "Well, let's go meet the others so we can this party started. You want me to carry you, Tenchi Heim?" As he looked at Nan, Kisame said, "So you two finally together." Nan said, "Shut it, or you will watch Ika Ika Paradise burn." Kisame nods and reaches into a pocket and said, "Pocky." Nan grabbed it and said, "Let's rock." As she jumped after Angel, who had a little shrimp tied up like a bull. Kage smirked and starts to jump away when Kisame grabs the back on his cloak and said, "Listen, kid. If you make her happy, I'm proud, but to me she is the closest thing I have to family, and if you hurt her I will kill you." Suddenly a rolling pin came flying out of nowhere and embedded itself into a tree right in the middle of both men, making them look at it and turn in unison, and saw Nan standing there and said, "Now do I need to educate you both on what I did to my clan?" Both men paled and said, "No, ma'am." Nan said, "Good," and the rolling pin came out of the tree and flew back to Nan, and both men saw that the end of the rolling pin was a kunai, and when it got back to her she said, "Kia." And the chakra strings that were attached to it cancelled, and she put a wooden handle on the part to cover the kunai end. Kage said, "Kisame, has she been like this when she was with you?" As he looked at her jump away. Kisame starts following and said no. And followed the rest of the way in silence. Angel heard all this and smiled to herself as Nan caught up with her, and she asked, "So how are you, Itachi?" Nan said, "The weasels passes on, and am the new guardian." Angel smiled and asked, "So where are you and the kit?" Nan cut her eyes at Angel and said, "A little more than you and him." "So have you thought of a name for the little prankster?" Angel said, "I see he told you about that, huh? I am not planning on having the child for at least a few years because I have something I want to see from him before I have him." As she ducked under a branch and landed on the ground. Nan landed beside her and asked, "What is that?" Ignoring the passed-out Gatu. Angel said, "I want to see him become a father and experience the joys of it before I have one with him, because I want him to know how to be a dad so he can treat our child the same and to have siblings. The kit never had any of his own, and I want a child I have with him to have some and to have something neither the kit or I had as children. A person to play with. It's my final goodbye to our child and him." Nan looked down for a moment and said, "I understand. You're not planning on going back to the summon world, are you?" Quietly. Angel glanced back and saw Naruto and Kisame talking about something and said, "No, did he tell you what would happen if you give your power to someone?" Nan nodded slowly, and Angel said, "The kid is not as lucky. I was a fool to think we could fuck all the rules. When we came back in time, he brought his entire chakra with him, which was equal to me using 7 tails and my remaining 3 tails because he had at least 1 tail of his own, and as he gets older and closer to the time we get to where we came back, it will add more and more to his system. The only thing keeping it from killing him is me currently. I told him I currently only have 25 of my chakra when I was released from the seal. The truth is I have all 100 of it, and he is drawing off his future chakra and add that to all the chakra he has from his training and using, and there you have it. That's why his control is so good right now. All the chakra you see him using is all his, and none of mine. He won't know about it until the exact date we came back. On that date all of my chakra that was in him that he had not absorbed will flood his system, killing him unless he somehow absorbs it all before then, which would be difficult. That is why I plan to start the ritual exactly 1 year before that day, and it will be right to the very second, so when the seal finalizes it will take all he had not absorbed and all 9 of mine and lock them away for him to draw over the rest of his life." Nan asked, "How can you know when to do it?" Angel said, "Simple. It was exactly 22 years to the moment I was originally sealed in him. October 10th at 12:01 a.m. I attacked on October 9th at night and it ended on October 10th, but because of everything they forgot that part." Nan looked at Angel and said, "But if that's true then." Angel nods and said his birthday is actually October 9th. Nan asked, are you going to tell him? Angel said no. He's had so much sadness in his life, because of me. I can't add any more to it. A voice said there is another way. Making both girls look and see Yujito sitting against a tree and look back and see Naruto being hugged by Shizune and Tsunade. Angel looked at her and asked, what do you mean, child, and how do you know it? Yujito said Nibi told me that there is another way and said you still owe her a rematch for whatever. Angel smiles and ask her what is the other way. Yujito eyes glossed over and then returned to normal and asked, you said that he is your chakra from the future and is correct. Angel nods and Yujito said he's immortal now, correct. Again Angel nods, not understanding where this was going, and Yujito smiled and said looks like the cat outsmarted the fox. You have already transferred your powers to him, meaning that all the bloodlines that require you are now drawing power off of him and not you. You are no longer needed. Angel thought a moment and said, but I have to marry him to make it legal. Yujito snickered and said, Nibi said you forgot to read the fine print, fox. You gave him the fox summon contract, correct? Angel nods and had a vein appear on her head, and Yujito said then all you have to do is before his 10th birthday return to the summon world, thus sealing all your power you currently have in the demon world, and then have him summon you with a permanent summon seal, so as long as he has more than 5 of his chakra you remain here. Nibi said the pussy has the power. And laughed as Nan had to hold Angel back from killing the girl. Everyone was looking at the girls, and Kage asked what's going on. An hour later, after meeting Tsunade and the rest and explaining everything, Naruto sighed and asked, so I have to absorb all that chakra before I'm 22, and now we don't have to marry each other. Angel nods and Naruto said, are you okay with that, Angel? Angel said truthfully yes, though I had wanted to have a kid with you to get my revenge, but I guess I can't have everything. Besides, we were friendly, but we never actually loved each other. So should we get started? I should warn you that you will have to inform those who know I was your fiancé that I am a summon. Naruto said actually I would rather keep that a secret because I know when word gets out about my bloodline somebody will want to whore me out, and I don't want to do that to mine and Nan's relationship, so if I tell them you're my other lover they won't be able to force me with someone. Whether it goes to marriage or not is something only time will tell. Yujito asked, will this transfer thing hurt? Naruto and Nan both said like hell. At the same time making Yujito pale. Tsunade asked Naruto, how are you going to absorb all that power before you're 22? Naruto sighed and said I don't know. Currently I am using 50 times normal gravity, so that is both draining and recharging my system at the same time. I could do about a year of nothing but S-rank jutsu back to back, though that is stupid. Nan said, or you can alter the seal and have it force large amounts of chakra into your system every 6 months like mine did, except you will have to have 5 instead of the one I did. If you do that over the next 11 years, you could have 55 of the chakra from your future self, and then using it to power her being here could make up say 25, which would leave 20 that you would have to use off somehow. Tsunade said actually, I might have a solution for the other 20, and it would make it easier to repair the damage to his coils after the 6 months hit. My Sozo says A, Genesis of Rebirth. If he uses it right after he is flooded by the forced chakra, then it will restore the damage with the help of his normal healing factor, and then he can start storing more chakra into it again a few days later. Naruto said, well, that's the easy part, but we still need to know how to alter the seal, and we would need to know how the sealing on you is done, Nan. Nan said, I know where the scroll that detailed how it was done is located, Naruto. I have something important that I think you should know. I was not the only Uchiha that was to be a Jinchuriki. Making everyone look at her. Naruto asked, what do you mean? Nan sighed and said, I found out one night when I was 10 when I was looking through my family library a secret that I did not know about. You know how part of the hospital was destroyed the night of the Kyuubi attack, Naruto? Naruto said, yeah, my mother died in that incident. Why? Nan said Kyuubi was not the one that destroyed that section of the hospital. The Uchiha clan did. Tsunade asked why. Shocked at what she heard, Nan said, from what I now know, Madara did not just pick a date to attack Angel. It was planned out. My mother had a total of 3 children. Me, Sasuke, and a brother named Tobi. My mother was forced to go into labor the 9th of October, and when Angel attacked, my clan destroyed the site of the hospital where all the infants were because they were planning to seal Angel and my brother, so they thought that if there was no other child then he would be used. However, they never got a chance to do it because the yondaime had taken you away from the hospital and had already set you up, so when my father offered Toby he was denied. My father, after being denied, was going to use the same sealing method on Sasuke but could not find you at the time because the third had you hidden and the 10 days that he had to do it in passed, but he had recorded his plans in a scroll. Tsunade asked what happened to your other brother. Nan said SIDS. Naruto said, you know, Nan. The more I hear about the Uchihas, I think you're the only decent one to come out of the whole bunch. As he sat back in a chair, Shizen asked, where is the scroll that has the information? Nan said, in the Uchiha family vault where only 3 people can get. I will go and get it in Konoha. Naruto said, I will go with you. Nan said, no, if you do, then your plans to make everyone think you're weaker than you are will be ruined and Danzo might get word you're still alive and attack you again, and I can't handle that right now. Tsunade said, I will go with you then. Shizen, I want you to stay here and help continue Haku training, and Yujito as well. We will leave when you're ready, Nan. Nan looked at Naruto and asked, do you want me to do anything in Konoha while I'm there, Naruto-kun? Naruto thought a moment and said, yeah, Angel, I need you to go with them in your human form and check up on Rin. Dad and Mom will be coming here soon, as will Dan and Nawakiai, so have her start getting me all the info on the Rookie 9 and Guys team so I can be prepared. Angel nods and Nan said, I guess that means we can go ahead and leave now since I want to hurry back. As she got up and kissed Naruto before leaving. Once all 3 of them were a safe distance away from the house, Nan sighed and walked over to a tree and sat down, and the other 2 looked at her and Tsunade asked, what's wrong? Nan said, I got 2 problems, and I don't know how to deal with them. Angel asked, what's wrong, Nan? Nan looked around and said, I started. Tsunade said, is that all? Nan shook her head and said, you don't understand. I don't know what to do because my father forbid anyone to tell me about it, and ever since I became the new 6th tail, it's had a side effect on me. I'm horny. As her face became flushed. Angel said, and it don't help, Naruto-kun is releasing pheromones either. Making both women look at her. Nan asked, what do you mean? Angel said, simple. You have heightened senses now, so you can detect the pheromones his body is starting to produce. Right now, it's nothing, but in about a year, it will get to the point you will be almost wanting to jump him every second. Tsunade said, well, let me help you with a few things, Nan, and then we will discuss this pheromone stuff. It all basically boils down to this. For hours later, and 10 slide projectors and 4 life-size models that Tsunade pulled from somewhere. Nan was pale and Angel said, remind me to tell Naruto that if unwanted teen pregnancy ever becomes an issue, have you give sex education. As she rubbed her temples. Nan, who after learning everything came back all taken care of, and said, now, what is this about pheromones, and what can we do about it? Still trying to get a few of the details Tsunade gave out of her head. Angel said, Naruto, and you are technically demons now. Everyone else who drank that sake are not. Only difference is you got tails, fangs and claws you can call if you want them, and the ability to attract mates. Now as such a male demon hits puberty at around age of 10, which for Naruto is in about 2 months, so his body is just getting ready. They start releasing pheromones so they can attract mates. Until he has sex with a female, his body will continue to release pheromones and will get stronger and stronger, so you and Yujito will be fighting an urge to go at him like rabbits until either someone does it with him or you are with someone yourselves. In a bored tone Tsunade asked, will any woman be affected this, or just certain ones? Angel said the only ones who will be affected will be someone who has demon blood in them who does not have a mate. Nan said, so that is why Tabi was after him, and her grandmother said it was because she was in he. Oh, shit. Naruto-kun can't go back to Konoha. As her eyes got wide a moment and then paled. Tsunade asked, what do you mean? Looking at Nan, Nan said Angel mentioned anyone who has demon blood in them will be attracted to him if they don't have a mate. There is a clan in Konoha that falls right into that category. The Inuzuka clan. Angel said, so that just means someone has to have sex with him before he returns to Konoha. Nan looked at her and said, over my dead body. as her eyes changed to a more round shape a moment before returning to normal. Tsunade sighed and said, we will worry about that later. Come on. As she took off toward the docks. Naruto walked outside and saw Kisame questioning Gato, and he walked over and said, so has he given any info? Kisame smirked and said, I gave him a little taste of Samahata's special ability, and he started spilling his guts about anything and everything. I got this interrogation scroll Nan made to record it all. What should I do with him now, since he's passed out? Naruto said, well, let me read about what he has been doing and see if there is any useful information that we can use to help the people of Wave. As he grabbed the scroll and Kisame nods and said, I will lock him up inside the broom closet and put a seal tag on the door. Naruto nods, walking back in the house to read, and he blinks and looks up and sees Yujito and Haku looking at him, and he asks, is there something you need? Haku said, it's good to see you again, Kage-sama. How was your mission, sir? Naruto sighed and said it was good. Has Tsunade and Shizen been teaching you well? Shizen, who had walked in, said, the girl is a sponge. She has learned how to use chakra and has learned nearly the entire anatomy of a human and has begun learning to heal minor wounds. She has also gotten where she can fight for about 2 hours in a spar, so she is getting better along with her chakra control and learning the basics of her bloodline. She is doing excellent. Naruto nods and looks at Yujito and asked, so what about you? Yujito said, so far, Kisame has had me working on chakra control and a few water jutsu, and I have a few jutsu I had learned from watching others in Cloud, but that's it so far. Naruto nods and said, between Nan and Raiga, we should have you become one of the 2 main lightning masters of the village hidden in waves. I have things I must prepare for, so, if you don't mind, I will take my leave. And he turned before walking out of the room. Kisame asked, what's his problem? Shizen said he's afraid if he does not do things right, then the village will fail. Tsunade told me she was afraid of the same thing, so I recognize his attitude. Kisame said he is really worried about this new village that much. Shizen looked around and made sure no one was around and said, Jiraiya-sama, when he told us Naruto had went missing, informed us that Orochimaru has started his hidden village, and from the reports he got it appears as if he has the backing of someone with a lot of connections, though who it is I don't know. Apparently from what he has gathered, Orochimaru is going to be even more powerful than we first thought, so he can't screw up or everyone he considered friends will die. Naruto, who was sitting outside, frowned as he heard this and thought, I will stop him and anyone who hurts my friends and family. As he quickly summoned a small 2-tailed fox and said, take this to the names who's on each of the scrolls and hurry. As he handed 2 scrolls to the fox, who bowed before looking at the names and taking off. 3 days later, 3 women were seen standing outside the gates of Konoha, and the guard said, state your name and reason for being in Konoha. Tsunade stepped forward and said, my name is Tsunade of the Sannin, and this is Angel, and this is. Nan stepped forward and said, Uchiha Nan. Making the guard wide-eyed, and he asked, what was your name? Nan flashed her Sharingan and said, Uchiha Nan. The guard said, oh, welcome back, we thought that all the Uchiha but Sasuke were dead, so it surprised me that you are alive. Nan said, We wish to see the Hokage. The guard said, right, if you will follow me. Tsunade smirks as she left in a swirl of leaves, while Nan left in a swirl of black flames, while Angel left in a swirl of red flames. The guard jumped back and looked and told Samabnu what happened and to inform the Hokage. The third was at his desk doing paperwork when 2 bursts of flames and a swirl of leaves appear, and he was in a defensive formation until he saw Tsunade, and he eased up and asked, hello Tsunade, what are you doing here? Tsunade pointed to Nan and said she just came by to get something from her family estates is all. The third looked at her and said, I'm sorry miss, but who are you? Nan flashed her Sharingan and said, my name is Uchiha Nan. The third looked startled a moment and said, how are you alive? Itachi killed all the Uchiha except his brother. Nan sighed and said, a friend saved me when my twin brother came to kill me, and together we killed him, though I got these cursed eyes from it. As they changed to the Mangekyo Sharingan. The third asked, wait, you're Itachi's sister. How I never was told about you. Nan looked out the window and said, I am the older of the 2 of us. My father did not want a female as clan head, so he sent me to live somewhere he thought I would never be discovered, but Itachi found out about me somehow and came to kill me, and luckily my friend had discovered where I was, and together after a long battle he was dead. I told him to take credit for killing Itachi so no one would know about me. The third nods and asked if you did not want anyone to know about you, then why are you here? Nan said there are a few scrolls that contain information about this eye in the Uchiha district. Tsunade here has been trying to help treat me because the eye causes blindness, so she thought if she got the clan's actual information on it she would be able to cure me. The third looked at Tsunade, who nods, and the third asked, who are you? Mississippi Angel stepped forward, transforming into a fox, and said, I'm sure you heard about me. My name is Angel, and I am the companion of Arankar Kage. The third's eyes got wide and said, I see. How is he doing? Tsunade said, you're lucky sensei, he's alright, though we want that information kept secret because of the new hidden village is dependent on him. The third was quite a moment and said, so the new village had been confirmed at a location. Tsunade said yes, though it's just getting started so far. I came up with an agreement to help them get a hospital started there and to train some nurses and doctors. The third said, but you would not do that for the Leaf Village. Tsunade said, I tried to, if you would remember, and I did get the hospital up and running better than ever here, but as you recalled, the council voted against every idea for helping improve the doctors and nursing staff, so don't cry to me over it. The third sighed, knowing it was true, and he asked, can you at least tell me where the village is, and who the Kage is? Tsunade said, sorry sensei. I promised that I would not say because they have family, and if word got out before they were ready, someone could turn everything they have fought and worked for into nothing. The third nods and Nan asked, where is Sasuke? I don't want to meet him yet if I can keep from it. With an Uchiha smirk. The third said, I believe he's at the academy. Will you be staying in Konoha? Nan snickered and disappeared in a swirl of black flames, and Angel said, I got to head by a few of the landlords of Mr. Kaze property to make sure everything is being taken care of, so I will see you. And changed back human before leaving in a swirl of red flames. The third looked at Tsunade with a look that said, what the fuck's going on? Tsunade smiled and said, sorry you have to wait like everyone else, though I would keep it as much of a secret about another Uchiha being alive as secret as possible, unless you want someone to try and kidnap her and use her for breeding stock. Make it an unconfirmed rumor if you can. Well, I need to head by the hospital and resupply a few things. See ya. And left in a swirl of leaves. The third said, I hate my job. Nan had appeared in the Uchiha district and walked to the clan head's house and opened the door, looking around, and could tell that Sasuke had a little tantrum based on the destruction in the house. She went to the library and got a few scrolls, and then she went to the secret Uchiha archive room and took the scroll telling about how to obtain the eyes. She then went back into the main house and got a great idea. Taking a kunai, she cut her hand and started to write a 5-word message on the front door in blood, and then after she finished, she smirked as she quickly left. Hello brother, see you soon. Tsunade walked into the hospital and got supplies from basic equipment to medical books. She then sealed them in a scroll and left, since no one would dare challenge her credentials. Angel appeared in an apartment across town and felt a kunai at her neck, and she said, hello Rin. The blade slowly pulled away and Angel turned and saw a student of the Yondaime Hokage in all her glory and said, we are beginning to build the village. Everything going okay here? Rin said, yeah. Since Danzo disappeared, things have quieted down. Angel sniffed and asked, why do you smell like Kakashi? Rin blushed and said, shapeshifting has its uses. I turned myself into one of the women from his books, and we've been dating for about 3 months now. I can't wait till he finds out it's me. Angel giggled and Rin asked, so what's new with Foxy? Angel sighed and said, a lot of shit. Danzo men had him fucked up to the point it nearly cost him his life. If Nan had not found and saved him, he would have died. She was also the one who broke the jutsu and helped him get his memories back. Rin was confused and asked, who's Nan? I never heard of her. Angel slapped herself and said, I'm sorry. I forgot you took over right before Naruto and I left, so you're not up to date on everything. I'm not sure I know how to describe Nan. I got it. Remember the Jinchuriki for Rokubi from his memory. She the Jinchuriki, though it's more complicated than that, but I can't explain right now. Rin asked, so what are the plans now? Angel said Naruto will return 1 month before the Rookie 9 graduate to join Konoha Academy. Then the party starts. Rin nods and said I will have everything ready here. Angel looked outside and asked how's the Uchiha? Rin said crazy. He is determined to kill the man who took his revenge away. Everyone but his fangirls are worried about him. Angel said alright, anything else I should know before I head back? Rin said not that I can think of besides the fact after the first year of doing what Naruto asked about telling everyone about sealing it never happened again so everyone ignorant. Angel nods and leaves in a swirl of flames. 20 minutes later the woman had left the village leaving without a trace. When the three women arrived back at Wave Country they all three sweat dropped and had one thing on their mind, Naruto. Why you ask? A bridge that should have taken 2 months to build took 1 week. Apparently Mass Kage Bunshin speed things up. The great hopeful hero's bridge was finished. 2 weeks later Tsunade drew the seals on Naruto for the Sozo Sose, Genesis of Rebirth, and explained how to do it so he could start storing chakra there, though instead of a diamond Tsunade drew 9 tails spiraling around the center on his forehead. 1 month after the bridge was built, Dan and Nawakiai arrived with 40 people to help with the new village. Flashback. Naruto was outside working with his Kage Bunshin building new homes, while the citizens of Wave helped with the construction of the hospital. It took 2 weeks for Tsunade to agree with everything she wanted in this hospital. Naruto felt a few chakra signatures approaching the new village. It was decided that the hidden village would be built away from the city Tazuna lived in by about half an hour away for civilians. 5 minutes for ninja. Naruto stopped working while his Kage Bunshin continued to build homes and a few stores that were currently empty. As he went toward where the front gate had been built though no walls had been put up yet, he saw a group of around 40 people. 30 adults and 8 children and 2 people he recognized. He smiled, creating a Kage Bunshin and sent it toward where the hospital was being built and said, "So Dan Nawakiai, how's it going?" Dan stepped forward and said, "Hello Naruto. It's good to see you again. Allow me to introduce a few people that I are looking for a chance to start a new life. These people are from the village of Sea Wave on the border of Cloud Country. Gato came through there about a year ago and did his thing, so when we arrived and told them about you dealing with Gato and starting a new village, they wanted to come and start a new life here. All of them are either merchants or store owners." Naruto, who looked like he was 15, smiled and said, "Hello everyone. My name is Naruto Namikaze, but don't let my age and look fool you. I am the leader of this village, though it is still being built. We have nearly 500 people already set to come here with around 25 already here, and I am just trying to get some homes and stores built before more arrive. There are a few that are here already, and they have the houses that are finished and have a nameplate put on the front of the house. Everyone is currently either working here in the village or at the one you just came through helping build the new hospital that will help with the area. We plan to build an emergency hospital here with a clinic for minor colds and things like that once we get enough trained medical personnel. Until then, we are going to use the hospital in the next town. If you would like to tell me what your business skills are, I can help you get the layout of the village so that way you businesses will grow and be prosperous. One key to having a profitable business is location." A tall man stepped forward and said, "My name is Trent and I am a blacksmith. This is my wife Elaine, my brother Alan, his wife Deborah, and their son Corey." Naruto nods and said, "Okay, are you a general blacksmith or weapon maker?" Trent said, "Both." Naruto nods and said, "Okay, you would want to be near the training grounds that are to be built, but also close to the main gate so people leaving the village would come and resupply, so I would think you would be happy about a block up." A clone appeared and Naruto said, "If you will follow this clone, he can show you the buildings we have there, and just chose the ones you want with or without residents added to them." Trent asked, "How much is this going to cost us first?" Naruto sighed and said, "The standard deal that we are offering everyone is this. For a standard business building you pay $40 a month rent plus whatever utilities you use for 10 years. After 10 years you have the option to continue to rent or buy the location for $5,000, so a business building will cost you around $10,000 in total at the end if you chose to buy. If you want one with a residence already added on, then it will cost you $65 for the residence business for the 10 years and $7,000 to buy at the end of the 10 years. If you don't want your home and business to be in the same location, all homes are $30 a month with $3,000 after 10 years to build, so you see we give a discount for having home and business together to save space, but some people like more privacy, so we give that option also. Now there is a standard tax paid on every person in the village of $5 a year that goes toward paying for the schools, hospitals, protection of the village, and helping keep the city beautiful, as well as the daily cost to keep the village running smooth. That's it. Everyone was standing there gaping at him, and he asked what. They all looked at each other and said, "Where do we sign up?" Naruto smiled and said, "Well, just keep telling me what your businesses are, and then I will help you choose a location. Most stores and businesses are not done, but once you pick the ones you want, I will have my clones and others who are working in the village work on finishing them first, and you're more than capable of helping since it will be your homes and business. Oh, the first month is free to help you get yourself set up, and your 10 years start next month." After about 30 minutes of getting everyone set up, Dan looked at Naruto and asked, "So where's Tsunade?" Naruto smiled and pointed behind Dan and Nawaki, and they both turned to see two women crying with a clone of Naruto who went up in smoke, and Nawaki screamed, "Sis." As he ran up to her and gave her a hug, though he looked the around 22, as did Dan, as Dan walked over slowly and said, "Hello ni Tsunade Haim." Shizen hugged her uncle, happy to see him alive, and then shook hands with Nawaki, having only met him when they were in the academy once, and he was 2 years older than her, or should have been. Dan looked at Tsunade and she jumped into his arms, letting tears of joy steam down her face, and she looked at Naruto and said, "Thank you." Naruto said, "I protect my precious people, and want to see them happy. All of them." Knowing Tsunade knew the hidden meaning, as he turned and started to work again. Once he was a few blocks away, a voice said, "That was nice, Naruto-kun." As he felt a pair of arms circle him. Naruto turned and kissed the woman who was holding him and said, "I love you, Nan." As they stood there holding each other. Flashback, and 2 months after the bridge was built, the Wave Hospital and the civilian school was built and opened, with Tsunade being the head of the hospital and Nawaki the head of the school. 1 month later, the first ship of refugees from the mist arrived. Turned out the plans for a mass move did not turn out as planned, though the first ship did have nearly 150 people. Luckily, in the time after the bridge was built to that point, enough homes had been built, along with a few more merchants arriving to set up business. At this point, the village had nearly 300 people. 3 months later, it became official. The village hidden in the waves was official, announced to the people of Wave with the election of the first council. 2 months later, the day Naruto had been waiting for arrived. Naruto was in the Namekage Tower reviewing the layout of the village and the construction of new homes, as well as the records of those who wanted to be ninja. He sighed, rubbing his eyes, and he heard a voice say, "You know that someone told me that using Kage Bunshin make paperwork go faster." Making him look up and get wide-eyed as he sees his father standing there with his mom laying her head on his shoulder, and smiled at them. He was about to say something when the door opened and Nan came in with her back, pushing the door open and saying, "Sorry I took so long, Naruto-kun. I was teaching the basics of tree climbing to all who have been ninja elsewhere before leaving. Hope you're hungry." As she turned, holding a couple of takeout meals. She stopped and got wide-eyed at the sight of the two people in Naruto office, and said, "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Namikaze. If I had known that you were here, I would have brought more food. When did you arrive?" Kushina looked at her, and then at Naruto, raising an eyebrow, and asked, "Who is this Naruto?" Naruto said, "Mom, Dad, I would like to introduce you to Nan Uchiha, my girlfriend." Minato looked at her and said, "I thought Itachi killed the rest of the clan except Sasuke and Madara." Nan looked at Naruto, who nods, and she said, "I did." Making both wide-eyed, and Kushina turned and said, "Explain." To Naruto. Naruto sighed, and Nan said, "The truth is that I was born a female and made a Jinchuriki for the Rokubi. My father made me use a Genjutsu like Tsunade, and then made my life hell. I killed them after I tried to leave my clan, and my father had my best friend try to kill me, but not before he tried to rape me. My father, after he found out I killed my friend, had me locked into the Uchiha prison and tortured by my entire clan but Sasuke, and then they dragged me in front of Sasuke and my father like I was a common criminal. That was the last straw, and after all the hate and pain I suffered, I killed them all. Naruto came across me, faked my death, and gave me a cover story, and learned who I was and what we had in the future." Minato rubbed his chin and asked, "What you have in the future?" thinking, and Kushina screamed, "You had sex with my son." As she realized who she was. Before Nan could blink, her and Kushina were out of the office and she found herself tied to a tree and unable to use chakra, and Kushina said, me and you are going to have a nice long talk. Nan paled and said, it's not the talk about sex, is it? Tsunade already explained it when it told me all about periods. Kushina paled and said, you poor child. Having heard Tsunade talks when she explained it to Shizen all those years ago. Flashback end. After a woman-to-woman talk, they got together really well, having learned how hard her life was. A few days later came the day Naruto was dreading. Flashback. Naruto laid on the floor of a ceiling room in the hospital. Around the circle was Tsunade, Minato, Kushina, Nan and Angel. Angel said, are you sure you want to do this? We can always take option B. Naruto looked at her and said, Angel, I have always fought to protect those I care about, and even though me and you have often not gotten along, I do care about you as one of my precious people. Kami gave you a job to do, and now that it's done, you deserve some rest. I will call you for important and unimportant things like seeing how each other are doing, but I want you to have what you wanted for nearly 30 years. Your freedom. You can say that you have been freed since we came back, but you and I know that this has been a prison without walls. You have given me everything I could hope for, and given me back the woman I love as well as my family. I don't want you to keep having to suffer, so please accept this. Angel looked down and said, all right Kit, but when you go against Akatsuki and Orochimaru, you had better call me to help and call me for the wedding also. Making Naruto and Nan both blush. Angel looked at Nan and said, you have better take care of him or I will break all laws and come back and take you out. Nan said, I won't do what Sakura did to him. Angel said, speaking of. Nan smiled and said, say no more. Naruto said, you can hurt her, but don't kill her. I may hate her, but she was a friend. Angel nods and said, remember when you summon me, call me by the name Angel, and I will appear in my human form, and call me Kyuubi and I will appear in my nine-tail form. Naruto nods and Minato said, are you ready Naruto? Naruto nods, and they began sealing the new seal on him while breaking the old one. After 25 minutes it was done and he passed out. Angel said, well, this is goodbye for me. Take care and call me if you need me. And she disappeared in a puff of smoke. End. Flashback. Naruto sighed as he looked at the mission report on what happened on the last mission. He sent his father along with Kisame, Zabuza and Nan on. Flashback. Minato sighed as he looked at the 3 people who had joined him and said, so, what exactly are we supposed to be doing on this mission? Naruto said, we were to research the Fuma clan. Nan sighed and said, how the hell did you become the Hokage anyways, with you always forgetting stuff? Minato said, hey Sumi. Nan shook her hands trying to control her emotions and said, look, from what Naruto knows, Orochimaru is going to try and have the Fuma clan join him in Sound since it should be building soon, so he wants us to try and get them to come with us instead. Minato nods and said, I don't get it. Nan leaped forward trying to get her hands on Minato, only to be held back by both Kisame and Zabuza. Funny thing is, they were both being dragged along. Slowly, but they were being dragged. A few moments later, Minato yelled, hey, what's the hold up? You're all too slow. Nan blew her top and 6 tails popped out of her tailbone, picking both men up and carrying them as she chased the laughing blonde in front of her. After about an hour, they arrived at the village where the Fuma clan was, and they heard shouting. Looking at each other, they nod and walk toward the direction the shouting is coming from, and hear, shut the fuck up you fucking cowfuckers. And all 4 looked at each other as all of them had the same person pop in their minds, and they looked around the corner and saw a 12-year-old girl screaming at some kids, and they shook their heads as they confirmed it. Just then, a little orange-red hair girl walks up to Tayuya and said, Tayuya, you should watch your language before the elders get upset. You know that they are meeting with Orochimaru-sama. Nan narrowed her eyes along with everyone else, and Tayuya said, I don't give a flying fuck what that snake bastard is here for. He should go back to his hole and jack off to whatever he calls a dick. Nan snickers a little and stepped back a little, tapping the other 3, and said, look, if Orochimaru here, then we can't go against him yet without screwing up the future too much. We can, however, go home with another recruit. Minato said, hell no. You're not bringing that girl back to the Wave Village. Nan said, payback's a bitch, blondie. And walked around the corner where Tayuya was punching a building and said, hey Tayuya. Tayuya asked, what the fuck do you want? Nan said, how would you like to blow this place and start a new life? Kyuubi said, not interested. Nan said, really? Here I thought you would like a chance to rub it in your elder's face and show them you were better than they were for joining Orochimaru. Kyuubi stopped and looked at Nan and asked, how do you know what he's here for? Nan said, it's simple. He is looking for people to experiment on and to be his own little slaves. He promises everyone power, and when they learn the truth about what he does, he kills them. It's what he always does. Kyuubi is quite a moment, and Nan turns and walks around the corner, and the door to the city hall open up and Orochimaru steps out and said, it's good to see you have all agreed to join me. I promise you I shall make you the strongest clan ever. Ha 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 ha. Kyuubi shook her head and ran around the corner and saw Nan leaning against a wall with 3 men leaning across from her, and she said, I will come, but you promise you will help me show them their mistakes. Nan smiled and said, count on it. End flashback. Naruto smiled as he finished the new seal he invented. It will make it as long as a certain someone is still in the village walls. Any swear words she said is automatically muted. Now how the hell does he get it on her, as he wants to cry? Finally, the first year was over for the new hidden village. Today there was a party, but first Naruto walked out on the balcony of the Namakage Tower and looked at all the people gathered below and said, people of Wave. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the founding of this village. A lot of things have happened since that day. We removed the tyrant Gato from power and seized all his assets to help the country recover and to prosper. We built the Hopeful Heroes Bridge connecting us to the Fire Country, allowing us to be able to trade quicker and for more things than we were ever able to do before. We opened a trade alliance with the very prosperous Spring Country and had over 1,000 people from the Land of Water join our village because of the bloody civil war there. We have over 75 businesses ranging from bookstores to restaurants to clubs and bathhouses, one of if not the best hospitals in the world, 4 schools, 2 for civilians and 2 for ninja. We have our village protected from an attack with not just 1 but 3 separate walls that make it where our ninja can attack from inside while our enemy can't get to us. Plus with the ninja we have who either left their homelands to escape evil leaders or wanting a new life have made our number of ninja to grow to 150 with 200 students in the academy at different levels. 50 per academy per age level, and we have another 100 starting their first 6-month tour in the academies in another few weeks. We have the world-famous medic Nin Tsunade here with her family, which from what I hear will be getting bigger over the next year, as she will be marrying both of the men who love her, though at her age she needs 2 men to make her happy. One to rub all the brittle bones in her feet, while another rubs her back, making everyone laugh and Tsunade to scowl. Naruto sighed and said, just kidding, Tsunade. You are the world's best medic as well as someone I consider a grandmother, and I am thankful that you have agreed to not only help this village get started but to continue helping where needed. I have made it no secret about what I used to be, and you all know how her fiancé and brother were brought back to life when I made a deal with the Shinigami to kill the 4 men who have found immortality. In fact, in the lobby of this building is a plaque telling exactly what the deal was for all to see. I want you all to remember this, people. Live each day like there is no tomorrow, because not everyone gets a second chance at happiness like Tsunade has as well as me. We have a great village started here, and it is up to each one of us to keep making it better. As some of you know, I don't really look like what I appear here today as. Most of you know I am younger than what I appear, but you don't know how young. I have lived a life many would fear because of the trials I have faced, which has made me feel like I'm 30 or better sometimes, and it is those trials that make me want to see this village become an example for the rest of the world to follow. Today I am going to tell you as well as show you what I look like and how old I am. You all know I use a jutsu to make myself look older and different for the sake of my family and friends, and have even taught a few here it. Before I do this though, I ask my girlfriend Nan to come up here. Nan looked confused while everyone looked on, and she walked up beside him, and Naruto smiled and said, as of right now I am as shocking as it sounds, 11 years old, making a few people gape like fish. And now Nan, the reason I asked you to join me. As he started to shrink and he got down on one knee and said, is to ask you that after I turn the legal age of 14 by almost every country in the elemental nations, would you do me the honor of becoming my wife for the rest of our lives, whether it be 1 day or a million years? As he pulled out a box from his pocket, and she gasped looking at it and held her hand to her chest and said, yes, I would. As she took the ring, and the crowd below cheered and several shouted out, all hail the Shodaime Namakage and his fiancé. And the people cheered as the newly announced fiancés kissed. After they broke apart Naruto mouth later and she nods and he turned back to his older self and said, now that we have something else to be happy about, I would like to say that though our first year has been rough and we came out of it strong, we must continue to grow and get stronger. In 2 years I shall be stepping back from office as the Shodame, and the Nidame who has already been selected will be taking over. I may be great at business and working on getting this village going with all your help, but I have very little knowledge on how to keep it going, so I have asked a man who has plenty to help me with that. I now present to you the former Yandame Hokage of Konoha, Minato Namikaze, to be the Nidame Namikage, so that what he did for Konoha before Kyuubi came can happen here, and that is make this the most prosperous village in the world. Now when I say I'm stepping down does not mean I won't be around. I plan to go to Konoha, who is not only the closest ninja village to us, but who does 90% of all missions in the fire country, and ask them for an alliance so that way, if we are ever in need they can help us and vice versa, and that way, if we need to go through the fire country to do trading or missions they won't think we are an enemy. Right now they are the big brother, but I think in a few years they will look like a midget and we shall be top dog. Now I think I have wasted enough of your party times, and all the casino and the bars are all open now, as well as the circus of the traveling merchants that have agreed to come here twice a year, so let's party. As everyone cheered. An hour later Naruto and Nan were dancing in a little nightclub on the west side of town, and Nan asked, did you really mean that today, wanting me to be your wife, or was that for the village? Naruto smiled and looked into her eyes, and said that was for us. Nan smiled and kissed Naruto. A fox who had seen the announcement and the proposal smiled to herself as she watched them before she went up in smoke. Over the next couple of years the hidden village of Wave continued to grow and become noticed in the world. However, the funny thing is that everyone believed that the Shodame Namikage was Arankar Kage. It was a rule that the Namikage name would be changed so that any enemies they had would have a harder time finding their friends and family, and everyone in the village agreed to it. Whenever the Namikage's name was spoken outside of the country or in the presence of strangers, that was the name they were to be called. The name they chose to hide behind. Why not? The village went from nothing in a poor run-down country economically with no hope to one of the biggest. The current village was nearly 3 miles wide and had nearly 7,000 people living in it. 75% of all shipping over the ocean was owned by companies in the village. Trade alliances had been set up with Sea Spring Tea and Vegetable Country. Because there was only 2 ways into the country, and those were by ship and by the bridge, security was beyond capable of catching spies. Seal markers were placed all over the island, and anyone who has more chakra than an academy student who came to the island was caught within 30 minutes of setting foot on the island, and they never made it across the bridge if they came in that way, because the village version of Abnu called Spiral would stop them and find out what they were doing. It also helped that Minato and Naruto, along with some help from Jiraiya, came up with a seal that would glow blue if you told the truth and red if you were lying, and nobody could fool it. Even women who are born liars about their age like Tsunade could not fool it. Speaking of Tsunade, she did marry both Dan and Jiraiya after they came to an agreement, though the exact details were never told even to Naruto, though he was happy for them. In fact, Tsunade had a son by each over these years, surprising a lot of people, but was told it was a side effect of the deal made and everyone dropped it. Not because they were not curious, but because the deal that was made with death was so complicated and had so long and written in a language no one could read that they just had to let it go. What also was a surprise was another couple that had come along to be married. Shizen and Nawaki both became married. Naruto shivers every time he thinks of that couple. Nobody should love paperwork that much, and both of them talk about it like it's the greatest thing on the planet. Nan and him both have gotten closer and feel like they are the happiest they ever have been, but both realized something was missing. It's not the same without Angel, because without her neither of them would be with the one they love, and they realized they had feelings for her also, and what she got out of the deal was screwed up in their opinion, and that realization result in where we find Naruto and Nan today. Both had agreed, and today they have used a jutsu that only the guardians could use and stand before the Shinigami. The Shinigami asked, "What is it you wish of me?" For the new Kyuubi and Rokubi to come before me together is somewhat unexpected. Speak. Naruto said, "Lord Shinigami, as you know, I was allowed to come back in time, and I made a deal with you in exchange for my parents and a few friends to return to the world of the living, and I have already sent the first of the men you wanted in exchange for this when I sent Sasori. As you are also aware, the former Kyuubi who we call Angel has returned to the summon plan, and I can summon her, but that is only a temporary solution. My future mate and I have both agreed and wish to ask if there is something we can do that you would allow her to return to the human world permanently as long as we live. You know by the order of Kami that we both have to have 100 descendants, and though I could choose any woman to be with in addition to my mate here, since it would be impossible for her to have 100 for each of us, and no one would be able to respect us and be trustworthy enough with our secrets as she would, so we ask for your help. The Shinigami looked at both of them for a few moments, looking into their soul, searching for some shred of deceit in either, and said, there is something you can do, but it is not as simple a task as killing those men I requested. Nan looked at Naruto, and asked, what is it you wish of us? The Shinigami was quiet for a moment, and said, there is an item in the world of mortals that should not be there. Only someone who is born of the mortal world may touch it without being destroyed, and I wish for it to be brought back to this world where it belongs. My predecessor stole it and hid it there, including making it where no one from here may touch it. If you can get it, I shall return this angel you requested back to the human world, but she will be an ordinary mortal unless she drinks some of the holy memory sake I made for you that will allow her to shape-shift and be immortal until she did the jutsu to end it. She will be just as this Tsunade or your parents are, but she will have the equivalent of one tail of her former power that she can work to increase. In exchange, there will be no summon boss for the Fox contract any longer until she dies or announces the next. You are the new Kyuubi in the mortal realm, but you are not the boss summon. Do you accept? Naruto looked at Nan and he asked, what is the item and why do you want it? The Shinigami said, it is a white orb that allows you to view anything within a certain distance of where you are based on how much energy you have. It was originally created so the Shinigami would be able to view humans better without actually going to the human world, but as I said, my predecessor was not happy about being replaced, so he took it to Earth to spite me. You have seen it in Konoha. Naruto was wide-eyed and said, the Hokage's viewing orb. The Shinigami nods and Naruto said, I agree. I shall get it then if that is the price for her to return. The Shinigami said, good, when you get it I shall return her. Be gone and let me rest. And both Nan and Naruto left. Naruto and Nan arrived back in their home. They decided to build one for themselves here close to his parents but with enough privacy for themselves, and he looked at Nan and said, well, how should we do this? A voice said, how should you do what? Making both turn and look and see Jiraiya standing there. Naruto sighed and said, how long have you been there, Ero-san? Jiraiya said, I came by to ask if you would be willing to watch the kids for us when I saw you both disappear in a white flash, so I waited a few minutes to see what was going on when you reappeared. So what is it? Nan said, we should tell him. He might be able to help us. Naruto nods and over the next few minutes he explained what was the deal and Jiraiya rubbed his chin and said, okay, that's all you need to get your girl back, then I will get it for you. Nan asked, how? Jiraiya smiled and said, I got an idea, but you don't let Tsunade know where I am because she will kill me. I better be going. Naruto said, let me come with you. Jiraiya said, no, if my plan is to work I need to go alone. Take care, kid. Nan looked at Naruto and said, I get the feeling he's going to do something to get himself killed. Naruto just nods his head. 3 days later, at about 8 in the evening, the third was reading a pink little book when he felt a presence in the room and someone said, hello, sensei. Making the third turn and pale at the sight of his former student Orochimaru in the office. It was not the sight of Orochimaru that made him pale, but the fact Orochimaru was wearing something from Mistress's secret catalog. The third asked, what are you doing here, Orochimaru, and why are you dressed like that? As he took a few steps back away from the desk, Orochimaru stepped forward, slowly crawling onto the desk, and said, I just came to tell you that I realized Susamething sensei. That Susamething is I wish to make your dreams come true, sensei. The third asked, what dreams? Trying to figure some way out of this mess without alerting anyone. The sight of Orochimaru like this would not only raise questions about how he got into the village and the Hokage Tower, but also the third's sanity, but also why Orochimaru would be like this. Also the fact that he had not seen his student in a few years, and wanted to know why he would appear now, so he played along. Orochimaru touched the view orb, bringing it to life, and he turned it to the Abnu men dressing room and said, this one, sensei. As another Orochimaru came into view dressed in a different nightie and started kissing the first one and then walked toward the third, who got into a defensive formation. Suddenly, the first one grabbed the viewing orb and jumped out the window while the other one started to attack the third. It was a simple taijutsu fight with Academy Taijutsu, and Abnu burst in and helped the third, who was able to kill it with a kunai, and he quickly ordered Abnu to track down Orochimaru. About 10 minutes later, Jiraiya appeared and the third was looking sick, and Jiraiya asked, "What's wrong, sensei? You look like you've seen a ghost." The third blinked and asked Jiraiya, "Where have you been? I have not seen you in over a year." Jiraiya said, "Sorry, sensei, I was on my honeymoon. Tsunade finally agreed to marry me." The third was wide-eyed and said, "Kami, help me, the world's coming to an end. First one of my students comes and tries to seduce me while stealing the sacred viewing orb, while my other two sneak off and got married. What next?" Minato, coming back from the dead. Jiraiya paled a moment and said, "So Orochimaru was here. Did he get away?" The third said, "Most likely, since none of the Abnu can find him. Hell, even Kakashi and his summons could not track down Orochimaru. It's like he was not even in his body." Jiraiya said, "Perhaps he's not. Orochimaru may have finished his immortality jutsu." The third looked down and said, "I pray he hasn't." "So what are you here for, Jiraiya?" Jiraiya reached into his pocket and pulled out a pink book and said, "It's my latest edition. I really need to get going. Tsunade going to kill me for leaving her with the kids." The third looked up and said, "Kids, what kids? Tsunade too old to have kids." Jiraiya said, "Apparently not, but keep that a secret. I better go, and if I get any leads on him I will let you know. See ya, sensei." The third was still in shock after hearing what his student said, and was like that for about 5 minutes when he heard Kakashi return and said, "Sorry sir, but we were unable to track it down, or Orochimaru sir." The third nods and said, "Kakashi, I want you to follow Jiraiya and tell me where he is going. He just told me something, and I want to know where he is staying at." Kakashi asked, "What do you mean staying?" Jiraiya never stays at a place too long, because woman beating him. The third said, "That may have changed since he's gotten married and has a child now, but don't tell anyone that. I trust you to keep that a secret." Kakashi was wide-eyed and nods before jumping out the window and starts to follow Jiraiya. After about a day, Jiraiya stopped and said, "So, when are you going to quit hiding, Kakashi?" Kakashi appeared and said, "I was told to follow you in case you ran into Orochimaru and needed assistance." Jiraiya snickers and said, "Nice try, but you are trying to find out where I am heading so the third could know where me and my wife are living." "Sorry, Kakashi, but I can't let that news get out just yet. I trust you, and I trust the old man, but with Orochimaru appearing now and the fact I have heard a few things, I won't risk it." And he melted into a pile of mud, and Kakashi cursed himself, but he knew that if he used his Sharingan to see if it was really him, Jiraiya would have noticed. Sadly, he had to return to Konoha. The next day, Naruto was sitting on the porch swing of his house when suddenly someone puffed into existence in front of him and landed on his lap, making him gasp for breath as it was knocked out of him. After coughing a few times, he looked and saw Angel on his lap, and she looked around and asked, "What the hell am I doing back here?" A voice from the screen door said, "Welcome back to the mortal world, Angel. Come inside so we can tell you what's going on." As both look and see Nan standing there smiling. After all three go inside and close the door, Angel asked, "So what am I doing here, and why do I feel different?" Nan slapped a piece of paper on Angel's arm and said, "Angel, I got a question for you, and that paper will tell us if you're lying, so don't, because this is important, and then I will tell you why you feel different." "Okay." Angel looked at Naruto and said, "Is this one of your schemes?" Naruto rubbed the back of his head and said, "Partly, go ahead, Nan." Nan nods and said, "Angel, do you like Naruto?" Angel said, "In what way?" Nan said, "Love, Angel." Angel said, "Of course not." And the paper turned red. Both Nan and Naruto looked at each other, and Naruto asked, "If there was a way for you to return here and also marry me and be a family with me and Nan, would you do it?" Angel said, "Kit, I told you I only wanted to have a kid with you to make Konoha pay. I have no romantic interest in you." The paper turned a bright red all the way through, and Nan asked, "Were you the same Kyuubi that was sealed in Naruto?" Angel said, "Yes." And it turned blue, and Nan smiled to herself and said, "Well, guess what, Angel? You get your wish. Naruto and I realized the only reason we are happy together is because of you, so we went to see the Shinigami, and he has given you back your life, but you only have one tail of your former power, but you can work to get stronger. You are also mortal, but he said you could drink Naruto memory sake, and then you would be like Tsunade or his parents. Naruto and I have decided that since we both need 100 descendants each, that we want at least 5 children for each bloodline. Now we decided that I would have all of them for my bloodline, and we want to know if you would have all of the ones for Naruto bloodline. After all, it's only fair since you created it in the first place. Angel said you both are crazy. I am not doing it. And the paper turned red and Naruto said I am glad to see you accepted. Now how does a triple wedding sound? Nan said I am okay with it, but I am not doing anything until you're 14. I have had Tsunade give me a shot that is used to regulate hormones to help me control mine until then, and Yujito did the same since she does not want to be anything other than friends, thank goodness. Angel asked, so what will happen with the Fox contract? Naruto said until either you die or you announce a successor, there is no boss for the foxes. Angel bit her thumb and summoned a little two-tailed fox, and said Kip, listen to me. I want you to go back and tell Gray that he is now the new summon boss for foxes and has 2 summoners. Me and my mate. The little fox nods and goes up in smoke, and Angel said, so what now? Naruto looked at Nan and asked, how did you get her back already? Ero Sanin has not returned yet with it. Nan snickered and said yes he has. He's in the hospital right now. Tsunade felt him coming across the bridge and beat the hell out of him. He's in the hospital now, and I was one of the Nins that had a front row view since I was on guard duty at the bridge when it happened, and he handed me the scroll with the item the Shinigami wanted. I then went to see him and came here the moment I returned, though I think he lied to us. Naruto asked, why do you think the Shinigami would lie to us about what the viewing orb was for? Angel asked, let me get this straight, you got him a viewing orb in exchange for my mortality. This would not happen to be like the one the Hokage has, would it? Nan said the same one. Why? Angel smacked her head and sighed before saying, you're right Nan, you both were tricked. That orb allows you to look at anything you want as long as you have enough chakra to reach what you're looking for. I bet he told you how the previous one took it away so he could not use it, didn't he? Naruto said yeah, that's what he said. Angel snickered and said the Grim Reaper owes me $1 million now. I told him when he retired and announced Shinigami as the new master of death that he would find a way to get that orb so he could continue his ways. Nan asked, is he dangerous or something? In a concerned voice. Angel said, to you and me, yes. Naruto narrowed his eyes and asked, why is he dangerous to you and Nan? Angel said, simple. He's the biggest pervert in all of history. He makes Jiraiya look like what you did to me when I first met the Hokage on this timeline, while he is Jiraiya. Naruto slapped his head against the table and said, so now that he has that, he can spy on women anywhere. Nan looked at Naruto with a glint in her eyes and asked, what did you do to her, Naruto-kun? Naruto said, nothing, Nan dear. In an innocent voice. Angel said, oh really, Naruto-kun, I seem to recall you pinching my nipple and making me moan from pleasure from the teasing. In a sweet voice. Naruto felt a dark pressure approach him, and he saw Nan had the look of female justice in her eyes, and she said, and you told me that you have never touched any woman besides me. Naruto said, well, only Angel, but that was just her breast. I swear. As he backed away. Nan narrowed her eyes and Angel said, what about that Sasami girl? You did touch her breast that one time. Naruto paled and said that was an accident. Angel asked, who else has been an accident? As she began to pummel him into the ground. Echoes of misery were heard all across the village, and Tsunade screamed, Jiraiya, what the hell are you doing out of the hospital and peeping already? As she stormed off looking for her husband. Konoha. About 6 months later. A lone figure approached the gates of Konoha as a mist walked with him, and he was around 6 foot tall with blonde hair and blue eyes that were slitted. He had a pair of whiskers on his face. He was dressed in a pair of black pants with a blood-red stripe running down each leg. A holster with a weird seal was on each of his legs, as was one on his back hip. His chest was exposed, showing the well-toned body of someone who has worked hard with weights and exercises. He had a sleeveless blue jean jacket with the words, "If you look into my eyes, you can see the future. Your future is death." It had a fox skull in the middle of the saying that circled it, and the fox skull had a pair of slitted sharingan with 3 commas, and it also had veins popping out of the side. No matter which way you looked at it, the eyes were always watching you, and a seal that was hidden on the inside made it look like the eyes were slowly spinning. There was a tattoo on his left arm of 9 spiral, and at the end of each was a different item. One was a slug, frog, weasel, cat, fox, a sword, a scroll, a puppet, and a picture of the Shinigami. On his left hand was a glove with the fingers cut out, and a ring was his ring finger, though anyone who had seen that type of ring knew it belonged to Akatsuki, and the glove had a weird seal on it. On his right arm was a seal that had a circle around it, and underneath that seal was a line running along his arm till it got to his wrist, and the number 100X was inside a seal on his wrist. On his forehead was a spiral right in the center of his forehead. Over his heart was another seal, though this one had the number 60 with an arrow pointing down to the number 40, and on his stomach there was a burned and destroyed seal with the letters RIP Kyuubi over where the seal was. On the back of his neck was a seal that was directly over his spine. As he approached the gates, the guard said, "Who are you, and what are you here for?" The figure looked at both men, and their eyes started closing before, and both men fell to the ground. The figure smirked to himself and walked into the village as the mist continued to follow him, and people were looking at him and getting out of his way. The mist, for some reason that was following him, was so thick you could not see what was inside of it. As he traveled, it was always just barely rolling at his feet, so you could not see his footprints. A few Abnu appeared, and the moment they locked eyes with him they passed out, making everyone who could read the words on his back believe that they were dead. When he finally made it to the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage was standing outside the building, having already been notified of what was happening, and he asked, "Who are you and what do you want here?" The figure said, "Hello old man, I told you I would return and here I am. I do have one question though, why did all those ninja faint?" Making everyone's sweat drop as he pointed behind him. The third was confused as the mist slowly started to clear away, and 4 figures could be seen standing in the middle of the mist. 3 of the figures had what appeared to be swords, and on closer inspection identified them as Zabuza, Kisame and Raiga. The figure in the middle was dressed as a Kage, though with the hats on and the mask on his face, you could not see what he looked like. Naruto smiled and said, "Sorry about that Hokage-sama, but the Namikaze asked me to escort him to Konoha. He wishes to talk to you about an alliance. Since I was on my way here, he asked that I lead the way." The third asked, "Who are you?" Naruto acted as if he was hurt and said, "Read my stomach and you should know the answer." The third looked and got wide-eyed and asked Naruto, "Is that you?" Naruto nods and said, "Been a long time old man, allow me to introduce the Nidaime Namikaze of Wave Kaze Tsunami, this is a special joke if you can figure it out. Minato means either port or harbor, and Tsu means harbor, and Nami means wave." The third looked at the man who bowed a little and said, "Hello Sandaime Hokage-san. I have heard many great things about you from this young man, and I would like to open negotiations between our 2 villages. I am sorry for my entrance, but I could not afford for someone to try and hinder my arrival. These are my bodyguards. Zabuza Momochi, Kisame Hoshigaki, and Raiga Kurasuki, and of course you already know our escort Naruto Namikaze." The third said, "It is an honor to meet you Namikaze-san, but if I had known you were coming I could have been better prepared for this meeting." Kaze said, "That's fine Hokage-san. I did not come here to try and have smoke blown up either of our asses. Perhaps it would be best if we continued this talk somewhere more private. If you don't have time today, me and my guards will gladly stay at a hotel until you have time in your schedule." The third was quite a moment and said, "I believe I can fit you in right now, though your guards will have to stay in the lobby." Kaze said, "That's fine, but I would like my associate here join us in negotiations. I trust his advice. Had it not been for his suggestion, I would most likely have tried to open negotiations with Suna or Iwa." Motioning toward Naruto, making everyone who was listening in unable to understand what he was up to. The third nodded and said, "Very well. Follow me." Naruto nods and follows Kaze, who follows the Hokage. Kisame and the others all stand outside in the lobby, making the secretary fidget by their presence. When they arrive in the Hokage's office, the third asked, "So what is it you are exactly interested in?" Kage said, "Very simple. As you have most likely heard, a few years back a group of people took control of Wave Country and freed them from the tyranny of a man named Gatu. We then gave them the option to try and recover themselves, or let us help them. With business connections Naruto here had, as well as a few other connection I and a few others had, we helped the people build the great bridge that connects our island to the Fire Country. The people decided that they needed some way to protect themselves, so we got to work on building the bridge and getting people to live there. So far, there have been no problems between us and your ninjas that I am aware of, but I would rather work out an agreement that would be beneficial for my country ahead of time. The third asked, what exactly do you have in mind? Kage said, well, what I have in mind is basically an open alliance. Trading of information on possible threats to the other, as well as giving support in the event of a disaster like an attack on the village or a natural disaster such as a fire for you or a tidal wave for us. We also have a trade alliance for unrestricted shipping of items to and from each of our countries, providing the item being shipped is not something dangerous. We can also trade ninja for training, though it can only be a genin teen to restrict access to village secret jutsu. I am aware that our village does have some jutsu that were originally from your village. Some of our neens were at one time missing neens, though none were from Konoha that I am aware of. The third sat quietly and looked at Naruto, who was listening to it all and looked like he had something on his mind, so he asked, do you have anything to add, Naruto? Naruto sighed and said, yes, I do actually. Wave has a number of bloodlines now. I believe that it was over 100, though that was a rough estimate at about the 1-year anniversary. These people are afraid of being hunted down again because most of them came from the mist, but some come from other countries. They have a life there, but some of the bloodline users came from other countries, also like Cloud Iwa Rain, and I even think there might be 1 or 2 from the Fire Country. I would like to see, for the sake of those people, that they cannot be forced to go back to their original countries if they do not wish it, and that if they chose it, they would be officially listed as bloodlines of Wave. Several people I care for fall into that category. The third thought and asked, I can't speak for other countries on that, Naruto. Naruto interrupted him and said, I understand that, old man, and I misspoke a moment ago by letting me feeling on this get in the way. What I would like to ask is that if approached by anyone to force the bloodlines to return to their original countries, Konoha official policy be that it will not be involved in such acts either by ally or enemy nations. I think if Konoha were to make just that stance of no involvement in it, then other countries would have to find other ways to do it, and with the sharing of information we agreed on, then we could prepare to protect them. In fact, if you agree, I have information on one such threat of a Konoha bloodline that is in the works. I know this is low of me to offer this to you in such a way, but you see, both of my fiancés have a bloodline, and both would be hurt if they were forced to return to the country they left from. It scares them so much that one of them refuses to tell me what her bloodline is and where she is from, in fear of what would happen. As he looked down at the end, the third listened to him and felt the emotions in his voice, but then something caught his attention and asked Naruto, why do you have 2 fiancés? Naruto sighed and Kage said, it's like this, Hokage-san. Somehow the Kyuubi that was sealed in Naruto died. He does not remember how it happened, and in fact, he had amnesia for several years from around the age of 6 to the age he was right before we saved the wave, which was around age 9. Tsunade was able to save him and bring back his memory. As a side effect, Naruto chakra coils were being pushed to the limit and threatening to break. Jiraiya, who had been with Tsunade at the time, designed the seal on Naruto's chest there and sealed most of the chakra away. His body was a mess at that point, and Tsunade had to teach him one of her secret medical jutsu. There were a few side effects, and based on her observation, Tsunade believes it is the emergence of a new bloodline. What the exact details are, she was not for sure, but she said it had qualities of the Sharingan Byakugan and others, though to what extent, she is not sure, and has asked him not to tell anyone about it unless he absolutely trusts them. The only reason I even know about it is when Tsunade had closed off a wing of the hospital to run the test, and I received a complaint about it. Tsunade said that if it is a new bloodline emerging, then he should practice polygamy, and since he actually saved the lives of both girls, they won't take no for an answer. The third listened and was shocked, but decided to try and get more information, and asked, what do you mean, Tsunade? Naruto said, Ba-chan and Aro-sanin decided to stay in Wave for a while, and Aro-sanin trained me, and Ba-chan did also, and helped create a hospital for the country, and has been teaching basic medicine and first aid until properly trained medics can take over full-time. The third nods, and asked, what's those other things on your arm, Naruto? Naruto looked at his arm and said, how I got it, I don't know, but I do know what they are. The frog, slug, cat, weasel and fox are all summoning contracts. When Ero-Sannin had me sign the toad contract, since he said it's what dad would have wanted and it appeared on my arm, I already had the fox contract somehow, though the boss is an 8-tail fox who said Kyuubi died. I got the slug contract from Tsunade in case something new comes up with this possible bloodline, so she can research it and contact me. The cat contract came from the A friend and the weasel came from one of my fiancé. The one with the picture of the Shinigami I don't know since it was there, and Jiraiya told me not to use it in case it might be the sealing jutsu dad used. The one with the scrolls is like a massive storage seal what I can store all kinds of scrolls and items in. The puppet has 2 puppets sealed in them, though how and why I have them I don't know, and the sword actually has my weapons for quick access that won't fit in my weapon holsters. The third was speechless and gapping, and after a few moments asked, what about the other ones on your arm? Naruto looked at Kage, who said that was a gift for Naruto from me. It's a gravity chakra weight seal. Normally a person could only go up to about 10x normal gravity and have to stop, but I guess it has something to do with his healing factor, but he maxed out at 100x. The third shook his head, wondering what the hell happened, and asked what happened to Vixen and Shinro. Naruto looked down and said, I am not really sure. Angel, one of my fiancé, was Vixen's daughter, and she said that some men attacked us and they were both killed while I was ordered to take her away and flee. Something happened in that battle because it was the last thing I remembered before the first time I met Ero-Sannin and Ba-chan. Angel stayed with me during the time I had amnesia, but under orders from Tsunade, she won't tell me what I did or saw because it might actually impair my ability to recover the memories if I ever do. The third sighed and said, I see. Most likely, it was some kind of mind control jutsu, or perhaps something to do with the Kyuubi. Naruto said, I wish I knew. I don't like having a past and not know it. At least I got Angel and Nan. The third's ears perked up, thinking it might be Nan Uchiha, and asked, Nan who? Naruto said, Nan Chio. My fiancé. Kage cleared his throat and said, if you are asking about all the seals on Naruto, I will tell you about the last one. It's a security seal that we placed on him to make it where no one would be able to go into his head and gather information on us. Jiraiya came up with it, so you can ask him the exact details whenever you see him again. Naruto is a major security risk for our village, but without his help and all we would never have been able to build the village. In fact, that is why we had made him the honorary Shodaime Namekage. His true strength and skills may not be that of a Kage, but his ideas and leadership skills were, and with the way he helped us gather people and build the village, it only seemed right. He took all the sadness in his life from his childhood and helped the people believe in themselves and each other. In fact, it was him who came up with our village's motto. The third was stunned a moment and looked at Naruto before asking, what is your motto? Kage said, to protect what is most precious to you. That is when you will find true strength. Make the village your most precious, and together the village will gain true strength. The third smiled to himself and said, sounds like you helped create a great village, Naruto. I hope I can see it someday. So what do you plan to do now? Naruto sighed and said, well, I have a few questions I need answers to, and I figure that this is the only place I can find them. I want to find out why my father was willing to save this village. From what I can remember of my childhood, it was not worth it, so I would like to see it again now that I have traveled the world and realize a few truths. I would also like to try and make a few friends here. I know that is going to be hard considering that I was a Kage of another village, though from what Ero-Sannin told me that the wave country's ranks don't become official until they enter a Chunin exam. Is that right? The third said, yes, that's correct. In fact, that makes it easier on us to get you back into the Leaf Village. Kage said, Hokage-san, I know you only just met me today, but I have a request. Should Naruto life here be the same as it was before, I would like to make it where he is a joint ninja of both of our villages, like someone who is in a political marriage would be. That way if the villagers can't get over their hate of Kyuubi, he can return to Wave and live happy. To the people of Wave, Naruto is a hero, and after everything he has done for us, I don't want to see him treated as trash. With a little hate in his voice. The third said, I can, but I would need to put some restrictions on Naruto at first to ensure he is not a security risk for us. I am sure you can understand. Kage nods, and the third said, all right, Naruto. Is there anything else you feel that I should know before I make my decision on this matter? Naruto was quiet and looked at Kage and said, should we tell him about that now as a sign of good faith on behalf of Wave or wait? Kage said, it's your call, Naruto. Consider yourself an official ambassador for Wave to Konoha should they approve of our alliance, and I trust your decision. Naruto nods and said, remember when I mentioned about a threat to one of the bloodlines of Konoha? From what we discovered, it seems Orochimaru has created some jutsu that allows him to take over the body of another permanently by transferring his mind and soul to another body. A girl that joined the Wave about 6 months ago from the Fuma clan said that her clan had joined Orochimaru and he used it on a friend of hers. He tried to kill her because of what she saw, but she escaped. She told us that Orochimaru bragged and claimed he would soon have the perfect body to steal all the jutsu in the world, just 3 more years, he said. We confirmed the Fuma clan is doing something that is strange according to the team we sent to check this out. They were stocking up weapons and food. She said that it took her about 4 months to find out about the new village in Wave and decide to come there. After getting this info and checking a few things, there is only one known bloodline that would give him that. The third closed his eyes and said the Sharingan. Kage said, and since there is only one Sharingan user left in the world, we figured it means that he plans to use that jutsu on him next year. At least that is what we believe based on the info we have. We told Jiraiya all this and he said he would check into it but would have to get proof before he alerted Konoha. The third asked, what exactly is Jiraiya relations to your village? Kage said Jiraiya trained Naruto here and spent his free time with Tsunade. Tsunade taught him chakra control beyond what he had already learned. Jiraiya agreed that if we allowed him and Tsunade a home that could be a vacation home or a permanent one, then he would keep his ears open for any threat to our village as he does Konoha under the rules that he won't betray one village for the other. Only reason he taught Naruto was respect for his father. The third nods and looked in thought a few moments and said, okay. I like the ideas you have for this alliance, though I would like to do a little test if you don't mind. You say Naruto has full rights as an ambassador for your country, correct? Kage said yes. Naruto has my faith as well as the faith of the council and the people of Wave. The third nods and said, when do you plan to take the first Chunin exams? Kage said we were actually going to wait until the exams were here in Konoha so that way our first genin teams are not captured or killed. I was thinking of sending up to 5 teams to enter the test since this exam will be important to us in our future to not only show you who we wish to ally with, but also other nations that we are not some little helpless village that can't defend itself. The third nods and asked, when is Naruto marriage? Naruto said the day after my 14th birthday, old man. I plan to request a mission to return there or request leave for 2 weeks at that time to be with my fiancés. The third nods and said, then it's settled. I will agree to allow Naruto to attend the academy to get to know people around his age. Since he has prior training, he can skip the first year providing he can pass a simple test I will administer myself. He will then be placed in the class that will graduate next year and be placed on a team that he will have to work with until the Chunin exams. If at the time of his wedding I find nothing that questions my faith in your village, I would like to send guests to Naruto wedding to view your village. Kage said, I don't believe that would be a problem, though they will have to have a ninja from our village that must be with them when they are not at their hotels for village security, but the guests have to be approved by Naruto. It is his and his fiancée's special days, and I know that there will still be some who see him as the Kyuubi, and we don't want them to disrupt his special day. The third nods and said, very well. I can agree to that. If they like what they see when they are there, I will agree to the terms you have stated, and it will be announced at the beginning of the finals of the Chunin exams providing at least one of your candidates make it to Chunin. Kage said that is acceptable. If there is nothing further, I really must be returning. My wife gets upset if I am away for far too long. Our only child grew up without us being able to see him because of a betrayal by our home village that cost us much of his life. We don't get to see him much, but when we do we cherish it and also cherish the time we have together. As he stood up and offered his hand. The third got up and shook his hand and said it was a pleasure to meet you, Namikage. With a smile on his face. Kage bowed and turned to Naruto and said, I will make sure your fiancé are well taken care of, and should you need anything send word and I will have it sent to you. As he gave him a handshake. Naruto smiled a small smile and said thank you and take care of everyone. I guess I will see you in about a year and a half then. Kage nods and walks out of the office. The third smiled as Naruto turned back to him and asked, what do you have planned for residence? Naruto said, I still own a lot of businesses here and I just need to talk to the woman who has taken care of my properties while I was away and I can have my place. The third nods and said, okay, I am going to cast a genjutsu and I want you to break it. Naruto smirked and said, might as well forget it. They don't work on me. The third looked confused and asked, what do you mean? Naruto said, my eyes. Whatever it is that happened to me makes it where all genjutsu are useless against me. It automatically dispels them. In fact, it broke Tsunade's, and I've seen what she looks like under hers. It was not until I mentioned something I saw that she looked closer at it and realized it. The third asked, what else can it do? Naruto said, well, it's active always. For one thought, I found that there are 2 levels to it. One where my eyes are blue, I can see everything around me in a perfect circle for 100 feet with no blind spot, but I can't see through things. I can also copy nearly any jutsu like the Sharingan as long as my hand seal speed is faster than whoever I am copying. Arrow Sannin had me get to the point I can do 30 a second to make full use of this, since almost no one can be faster than that. The third was wide-eyed and then asked, what else? You said it had a second level. Naruto nods and said, the second level I found is when I actually channel chakra into my eyes, they become red and I can see up to a mile away and through things, but I can't see chakra pattern and I can still copy, but the farther away a person is the slower they have to go for me to be able to copy. I also found that my eyes can create a powerful genjutsu world. Ba-chan told me it was like the Tsukuyomi world of the Sharingan that I call Kitsune world, though I have only ever used it on my fiancée to make one of her sexual fantasy come to life before we actually have sex. The third giggled at that and asked, anything else? Naruto thought and said, well, I got my healing factor and then I got my other fiancée's bloodline, though I got that from a blood transfusion to save her life. The third asked, what is it? Naruto smiled and said, she can shapeshift. It's like an advance henge that actually makes her body become whatever it is she appears to be. She sometimes turns into an animal or another person to pull pranks on me. Tsunade said that mine was actually a mutation of hers. She figured that since I did it before I had my memory loss, that Kyuubi must have altered it a little, and she was going to see if it was transferable along with the others she thinks are bloodline. That woman is scary with needles. I swear someone should call her Mosquito from all she took, though who or what she did with it, I don't know and don't want to find out. Shivers. The third nods and said, can you show me it? Naruto smiled and said, I already am. As he slowly starts to shrink down until he's about 5 feet 5 inches. The third was amazed and Naruto then turns back like he was, and the third said, so how long can you do that for? Naruto said, it's all mental. Until I actually tell myself to change it. I can even add things to myself. Last year we had a costume party for Halloween and I changed to look like a 4-foot-tall Kyuubi, and Angel changed to look like my dad and sat on my back while saying she was king of demons. The third laughed as the picture popped in his head and said, okay. I guess you pass. I could test you more, but I don't want to waste any more time than I already have. Report to the academy at 7:30 a.m. and I will get you signed in. I will have to have an Abnu follow you for security reasons, so I am sorry about that. Naruto nods and said, please don't tell anyone about my bloodline. I fear what would happen if word would get out. The third saw the pleading look and said, okay Naruto. Naruto said goodbye and left, and the third thought, Minato, perhaps I can make up for my past mistakes now. A man at the front gate sneezes and Zabuza asked, are you okay, Namikage-sama? Kage said, yeah, someone must be talking about me. Good luck, son. Naruto walked down the street ignoring the stares people were giving him to him. These people were nothing anymore. He had a life and a family now, but he did have a few friends here, and that is why he would save them from what is to come. As he continued on his journey, he felt the team of Umbu following by rooftop. All 3 of them. The 4th was dressed as a civilian, following about a half a block back. He approached an apartment building and shocked the guards when he bit his thumb and wiped some blood and walked into it. Everyone knew of the security for these apartments and knew only way someone could enter if they were in a selected shinobi's list allowed to enter. For the person they were following was a disbelieving experience. The one in civilian clothes, thinking the seal was broke, went over and tried to get in but found he could not, ensuring the seal was working. Naruto smiled as he stood around the corner from the door, as he knew that raised a few eyebrows, and he started climbing the stairs. A few minutes later he knocked on a door and the door to the apartment opened up, and Naruto had to hold back the snicker at the sight of Kakashi without a shirt and him holding his mask over his face and a pair of boxers with dogs on them. Kakashi raised an eyebrow and asked, "Can I help you with something?" Naruto said, "Yeah, Rin, get you ass out here." Making Kakashi look at him and said, "I am sorry, but you got the wrong apartment, buddy. Nobody named Rin lives here." Naruto snickered and said, "Really, Kakashi, you mean to tell me you've been sleeping with your old teammate for what is it, 3 years now, and you still have not figured it out?" Kakashi was shocked for a moment. First, this person knew who he was, and then by the claim that the woman he had been seeing was his dead teammate. How low can people get? Kakashi released a little killer intent and said, "Listen, buddy. I don't know who you are or what you think, but you are pissing me off." Naruto said, "Forgive my manners." Naruto Namake's at your service, Kakashi. Now if you would be so kind as to look at the woman behind you, I believe you will have a heart attack. In a mocking tone. Kakashi was stunned. This was his sensei's son. He felt a hand on his shoulder and heard, "Let him in, Kakashi-kun." And he turned to look and passed out at the sight of his teammate who was dead, standing there, dresses in the bathrobe he got his girlfriend for their anniversary. Naruto smiled and said, "Nice to see you again, Rin. Sorry for interrupting, but I got umbu on my ass already, so I need to find out which apartment I am in." Rin smiles and picks Kakashi up and sets him on the couch, and Naruto walks in, closing the door. Rin said, "Let me get dressed and then we can talk." As she goes toward the bedroom. Kakashi groaned a few moments later, and Naruto, who was sitting at the table drinking some tea, said, "Morning, pervert." Making Kakashi look at him and look around, trying to figure out if it was a dream or what. Not seeing Rin or his girlfriend, he asked, "What was that earlier, and where is Nermi?" Naruto snickered and said louder than necessary, making his voice go down the hallway, "You could have come up with a better name, Rin. I can't believe Kakashi here never looked at your name in a mirror because you left it in plain sight." As he looked toward the hall, going toward the bedrooms. Kakashi, who was ready for an attack, listened to what this guy said, and though mirror Nermi backwards would be Imran. His eyes got wide-eyed and thought, "I am Rin." As he looked down the hallway and saw his old teammate coming out of the hall, and he asked, "What the hell's going on? You died during the Kyuubi attack." As he uncovered his eye trying to see if it was a henge or genjutsu, and saw that it was not one. Rin smiled and said, "Not died, Kakashi, murdered, and as for how I am alive, our godchild is to blame for that." Pointing toward Naruto, who waved in a Kakashi pattern while taking a sip of tea. Kakashi looked at Naruto and asked what, how and why. And a few other random incoherent questions. Naruto smiled and said, "Well, if you want answers, I can humor you. Rin, if you don't mind, could you fix us something to eat and get a bottle of sake? I got the feeling we are all going to want a drink before today's over." Rin nods and said, "You don't have Kyuubi anymore, you sure you can handle the sake?" Naruto snickered and said, "I've been bar hopping every Friday night for the past 3 years with my fiancés and the others back in Wave. I can drink this town dry and still not get drunk." Rin smacked her forehead and asked, "What the hell has Minato-sensei been teaching you, and how did he get it by your mother?" Kakashi, who had came over, was again floored and said, "Wait a minute. Will someone please explain to me what the hell is going on and how people I know are dead, and what do you mean he does not have Kyuubi?" As he looked at both for answers. Naruto sighed and said, "Fine, I will tell you, but you can't tell anyone, including the Hokage. If he were to find out, he would be pissed and everything we worked for would be ruined." Agreed. Kakashi nods and Naruto said, "It's like this. You remember you old teammate Obito?" Kakashi nods once, looking at Naruto, and Naruto said, "A man by the name of Uchiha Madara, the same Uchiha Madara who killed the Shodame Hokage, recovered his body after Dad took you and Rin away to get treated and repaired his body. He then used a forbidden jutsu that transfers his mind and soul into another body, and took control of Obito's body. You with me so far? Kakashi nods and said, so you're saying that Obito body is alive, but someone else is in it. Now what does this have to do with anything? Sounding impatient. Rin came in with some sandwiches and a bottle of sake and glasses, and set them down while saying everything Kakashi. He's the man responsible for the Kyuubi attack. Making Kakashi wide-eyed and looked at her and Naruto. After he calmed down a little, Naruto said, now I will skip why and how he did it for now, since you want to know how Rin and the others are alive. The truth about how Rin died was not what you believe, Kakashi. It turned out Danzo found out about Mom and Dad, and when Dad went to do the sealing before the hospital wing was destroyed, he sent one of his assassins to kill Mom. Rin was the nurse who delivered me and was treating Mom and was killed fighting the assassin. Mom was passed out from exhaustion and was an easy target afterward. Kakashi asked, why would Danzo want your mother killed? Rin said, think about it, Kakashi. If she was alive, she could have taken Naruto back to Whirlpool or somewhere else, and Danzo would lose his ultimate weapon he wanted to create. Kakashi thought, and that did seem like Danzo, and he asked, so how are you alive? Naruto poured himself some sake and said, cheers. As he drank some and Rin drank some, and Naruto said, I need to use the restroom before I continue. As he got up and went down the hall. Rin smiled and said, sorry for not telling you sooner, Kakashi, a lot of people have a lot riding on what's going on and I could not screw them over to tell you until everything was ready. I wanted to tell you, but I could not abandon my friends for my own selfishness. As she poured herself some more and some for Kakashi. Kakashi looked at it thinking everything over and took the saucer and drank it trying to clear his head. Wrong choice, as he suddenly grabbed his head in pain before he felt a pressure point being hit by Rin, knocking him out. When Kakashi awoke, he looked around and saw he was sitting on the couch, and he looked at Naruto and Rin who were talking, and he listened to them trying to get over the head rush. Naruto, who had his back to Kakashi, said, come join us, Kakashi. The headache will go away by tomorrow. Kakashi sighed, wondering how Naruto knew he was awake, and walked over and stood beside them and asked what the hell was that. Naruto smiled and said, my last life. It's what started all of this, allowing Rin and the others to come back to life. Kyuubi offered me a deal and I took it. When we went to the Shinigami to inform him, and when he reviewed my life, he gave me a gift to bring a few people back to life, and in exchange for making sure 5 people died. From my memories, you should be able to tell who they are. Orochimaru, Haiden, Sasori, Kakuzu, and Madara. Kami also got involved the deal since he was tired of the tailed demons being involved, so I have to track down all of them and have them transfer their powers. Including me, that leaves 6 left for me to find. Kakashi thinks a moment and said, when did you come back to Naruto? Naruto said, early enough to piss on your book. With a smile. Kakashi looked at him and for the first time at first pissed off and then realized something was different. His forehead protector was gone and he was seeing with both eyes, and chakra was not being drained. He jumped to his feet and ran to the bathroom and looked at his face and saw that his Sharingan eye was black and not active. He tried to channel chakra to it and found it responded, and then he shut the chakra off and it returned to black. He smiled a little and went to turn when he knocked something off the sink counter. He reached to catch it and cut his finger, since it was Rin's razor she shaves her legs with, and he sets it back on the counter and washes the blood off and was about to get a band-aid when he noticed it already healed, and he raised an eyebrow and went back into the dining room and asked what happened to me. Naruto said, basically, you got a part of my bloodline. As he drank some more tea. Kakashi looked at him and asked, what do you mean? Rin sighed and said, tell you what, Kakashi. Picture anyone in your mind that you know what they look like, either man or animal, and then think the word shapeshift. Kakashi looked at her and soon he started to change and turned into Pakun, and Naruto said, Kakashi, you have a sick relation with him. Kakashi thought a moment and returned to normal and asked what was that. Naruto said, shapeshifting is part of the Kitsune bloodline. You also have increased healing and a simple form of immortality. Kakashi looked at him and asked, what do you mean by immortality? Rin said, it means you won't grow old. Your body is healing itself back to its prime at the age of 22, and then it will stay that way until you cancel it or until you are killed, which is a little harder now. Kakashi was wide-eyed and asked why. Naruto said simple. I have changed the future already, though the one major event will most likely still happen, and with it the second major problem. Kakashi thought a moment and said Orochimaru and Sasuke. Naruto nods and said yes. You and Rin are the only two people besides myself in the entire village that knows what is going to happen. Kakashi was quite a moment and asked, what do you plan to stop that? Naruto smiled and said simple. Before I came here today, myself and the Nidame Namikaze had a meeting with the Hokage and opened an alliance proposal that will take effect around the time of the Chunin exams. Let's just say that the teams that are coming are going to be ready to aid Konoha along with the Namikaze, who is going to be by the Sandame. Kakashi asked, who is the Namikaze? Naruto. Naruto smiled and said Kaze Tsunami, or you would know him as Minato Namikaze. Making Kakashi fall on his butt. Kakashi asked, why are you telling me all of this, and why did you give me this bloodline and memories? Naruto sighed and said, it's like this. Jiraiya Tsunade, Dad, Mom. Rin Zabuza, Nan, Angel Kisame, Yujito, Shizenhaku and Raiga along with myself will not be enough to change the future of the village. I need help, and since almost all of those who know believe you could help get the leaf ready without raising too many questions, and we all trust you. Kakashi asked, what do you think I could do that others couldn't? Naruto said, tomorrow I start at the academy. I plan to befriend the Rookie 9 and help a few of the key members that will make the others follow. Ino, Sakura, and Sasuke are out for now. You, however, can use your rivalry with Guy to help him get his team and also help get a few others you think will be of use in the future, but you need to do it as simple training or challenges or something without raising too much interest. You could also arrange joint training with the other teams when we pass the academy. I also need someone to tell me when people are drawing attention to me. I already told the Hokage that I was trained by Jiraiya and Tsunade to move most of the things I know away, but a few things can't be passed off like that. Especially if people find out what I did during the years the Hokage thinks I had amnesia. Kakashi asked, what did you do? Naruto smiled and said, ever hear of Arrancar Kage? And he saw the wide-eyed look on Kakashi's face for a moment as he realized exactly what he meant and said, so that's why you had Pakun not tell me who you were. Naruto nods and said, I want to say thanks for saving me. Danzo man nearly cost me my life. Had it not been for Nan, I would have been killed. Kakashi asked, who is Nan? Naruto tensed a moment and said, Nan is one of my fiancé. Check the memories and find the one of me and the Jinchuriki of Rokubi. She's Nan. Kakashi thought a moment trying to get the information and said, I see. Why did she save you then? From your memories, you never met her before that day in the future, though she met you. Naruto sighed and said, you want the truth. If I tell you it, then you will not be able to tell anyone, because if you do, I will kill you. As straight face as he could be. Kakashi looked at Naruto trying to see any deception and saw none and questioned if he wanted to know the truth and said, fine, tell me. Naruto nods and over the next 30 minutes explained about the Uchiha plan to create a second Jinchuriki, their involvement in the Kyuubi attack and its real reasons to attack. The secret law of the Hokage, the secret to gaining the ultimate Sharingan, the truth about the Uchiha massacre and why Sasuke was spared. The last mission the Hokage had for her and about the truth of Itachi. The truth about who Angel was and why she did it. When it was done, Kakashi was wide-eyed and unable to speak. Finally, he said, if I was her, I might have done the same thing. I don't condone it, but I understand it. I won't tell as long as she does not kill Sasuke. Naruto said she won't. If she does, I will forfeit my life, however, if he betrays the leaf, all bets are off. Kakashi said, I suppose that's fair enough, besides the man he wants to kill is you. Giving Naruto a pointed look. Naruto said, I know, but I hope with the cover story I told you he will change his desire for revenge to one of protection and respect. Especially after getting to know me a little. Kakashi nods and said, well, is there anything else I need to know? Naruto said, you can give Rin here that ring you bought and set a date. Word of advice, next time you buy a present or engagement ring, make sure it's not at a store she manages. I will see you around, Kakashi. As he got up and left. Kakashi swallows a lump in his throat and looked at Rin, who was blushing and looking at him. He said, well, Rin said, just shut up and give me the ring. You never were good with words. Kakashi nods and the makeout begins. Naruto soon finds the apartment that will be his for the next year and a half. The next day Naruto arrived at the academy dressed with a pair of black pants like the ones he wore the previous day, except they had a white stripe down the side and a white shirt and a black sleeveless jacket with a picture of a tidal wave approaching a village and the words natural disaster on the back in red. When he approached, the third looked at him and saw he still had that glove on his hand and asked, what's with that glove, Naruto? Naruto held his hand out to the side and suddenly a kunai appeared in his hand and said, I have 3 seals in it and I can make either of my kunais or a shuriken appear. It's a seal I designed when I was learning some of Dad's stuff from Shinro. The third asked, what do you know, Naruto? Naruto looked around and saw several people looking at him and asked, you mind if I use that training log as an example? The third looked at Naruto and said, sure. Naruto dropped the kunai in his hand and another appeared a moment later and he threw it, and the next thing anyone knew there was a yellow flash and an explosion, making every single person in sight wide-eyed, including the Hokage, who was gaping as Naruto had just obliterated the training post with a Rasengan that he still held in his free hand as he walked back over, putting the kunai back into his back holster and powering the Rasengan down as he swooped down, grabbing the kunai he dropped and pocketed it and said nothing much. Naruto held a bored look on his face as everyone were trying to figure out what to think or do. The third asked, how good are you at those jutsu? Naruto said, I am not really sure. I know I learned the Rasengan in a month from Ero Sannin and Hiraition and about 6 months from Shinro before he died, though I don't think my version is as good as Dad's. Dad's notes on it said something about a feedback problem, though I have not encountered it yet, so I don't know. I have only had to actually use it once, and that was when I saved Angel's life when I was 6. I keep myself up to date on practicing it so I can do it if needed. The third shook his head, trying to get over the fact Naruto was possibly a genius, and he realized Naruto would most likely never have reached his full potential here in the Leaf due to their hatred. That thought saddened him and he asked, can you teach how to use it to others, Naruto? Naruto said, yes, well, no, I consider it a family jutsu and will keep it in my family jutsu. I heard a rumor that there was someone else who knew it, but I heard he died a few years back, besides Dad. As he saw everyone's shocked faces in his view with his bloodline. The third winced at that and said it was never confirmed if what he did was indeed the Hiraition, though it was suspected. It was also never confirmed that he died. Naruto nods and said, well, I would like to find him someday to find out how he figured it out, or his version if it's not the actual jutsu, and compare notes on it. Making the third nod, though he had a million other thoughts going through his head. The third said, well, let's get you registered, Naruto. Naruto nods and walks into the academy, and Inoichi said, what do you think, Chuja? Chuja said, I don't know. If that is only a sample of what he can do, then he could be a great ally or our greatest enemy. Shikaku said, I am surprised by what he has accomplished so far in his life from what the Hokage told us last night during our meeting. I see now why he wanted the clan heads to make sure Naruto was treated fair. A voice from behind them said, I am forced to agree with your assumption also. Even Hayashi seemed to have gotten in on this idea, and if what my bugs are telling me is true, all of his chakra is his. None of Kyuubi's. Hayashi, who had his eyes activated, started to walk toward the group because he had read their lips as Naruto was walking into the academy, who smirked as he had heard them. Hayashi, when he got by them, said, I am afraid I have to agree. All the chakra in his body is currently his. Also, the fact that both jutsu he used back there did not make his chakra reserves show any signs of use. It was like it was completely restored instantly. His coils are also larger than the Hokage's, making everyone wide-eyed. After dropping off a folder to the administration office, the Hokage led Naruto to room 301 and opened the door and said, hello Iruka, I am sorry to interrupt your class, but you have a new student joining you today. Iruka was smiling until he saw the whiskers and said, I see, Hokage-sama. Who are you, young man? Naruto walked to the front of the class and said, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I am the son of Kushina Uzumaki, the Rokudame Rasenkage of Whirlpool, and Minato Namikaze, the Yondame Hokage of Konoha. I am also the former Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I like training precious people, writing books, playing shogi bugs, eating new foods from around the world, and both of my fiancés. I like people who can be themselves and do not judge based on other people's ideas but their own. I dislike fangirls. Suddenly a howling noise was heard and Naruto paled and said, "Hey, you with the dog, what clan are you?" Kiba looked at him and said, "Inuzuka, why?" Naruto looked around frantically and asked, "How many women in your clan are between 13 and 40 and don't have a boyfriend or husband or kids?" Kiba looked confused and said, "One, why?" Suddenly the window was blown open and Naruto said, "I take it that's her." The third asked, "What's going on, Naruto?" As Naruto jumped from flat-footed to sticking on the ceiling with chakra to avoid the girl who dove where he was a moment ago. Naruto bit his thumb and rubbed it across the scroll seal on his arm and said, "Hormones." And popped a pill bottle and he flipped off the ceiling as the girl climbed the wall into the roof to get him, and he said, "Tsunade said that since I was 11 years old my body has had one other side effect of the Kyuubi dying. If I am within a mile of someone with heightened senses and that person is a female and does not have a mate and is of childbearing age. Shit." As he used replacement with Mizuki, who was pounced on by the girl. The third said, "Then their mating instincts kick in and try to make you theirs. Figuring it out." Naruto nods and replaces himself with Sasuke and said, "Tsunade could not figure out how to stop my body from producing it and said it will most likely go away after I marry my fiancés, but she did create a drug that makes my pheromone I am releasing obsolete. Problem is getting the person to take it." As he backflips out of the desk, causing the girl to hit Sakura with a clawed hand, ripping her shirt. The third starts doing hand signs that Naruto copies and both shout out, "Mud encampment wall." And both spit out a wall of mud that covers the girl and Naruto opens the bottle and said, "Hey, help me get her to open her mouth, dog boy." Kiba was too busy laughing his ass off until he heard the dog boy comment and saw his sister was about to break free and walked over and twisted her ear, making her cry out, and Naruto shoved the pill down her throat. A few seconds later the girl moaned and Naruto and the Hokage released the jutsu and she asked, "What the hell happened to me?" Naruto asked, "What's your name?" The girl looked around and Kiba said, "Her name's Hana and she my bitch of a sister, and you want to know what happened? You went into heat and tried to mate with him." Pointing toward Naruto. Naruto said, "Nice to meet you, Hana, and thanks for the help, as he held out his hand to Kiba. Kiba shook it and said, "Kiba." The third looked at Naruto and asked, "Why did you not mention that before, Naruto?" Naruto said, "Hey, I have only encountered 5 women in that time I ever had to worry about, and the last time was a year ago. I thought that it might have ended, but apparently not. If I known it had not, I would have mentioned it." The third nods and said, "I want you to send a summon to Tsunade and ask her for a detailed report on that and your other unique abilities in the next week, Naruto. I won't show anyone else, but for my own private records." Naruto nods and said, "Sure, old man," making a few people snicker, and Irika said, "Show some respect, D-brat." As he caught himself. Naruto said, "I only show respect to people I don't like or don't know well enough. The old man here I consider a grandfather to me in a way, so I refuse to call him anything else. I call Tsunade Ba-chan and Jiraiya Ero-sanin. Hell, I even call Princess Kazuhana Koyuki Yuki and Kisame Hashigaki Sushi. I am sorry if you don't like it, Irika-san, but you got to realize something. Just because someone is a leader of a country or a clan head or someone important does not mean they are not human and sometimes wish to be referred to as such by their friends and family. Hell, if you want me to show respect and proper manners to people, then you may call me Namikaze-sama, since I am the son of 2 Kages as well as an apprentice of 2 Sannin at one time, as well as the only reason this village is even standing today, since my father could not actually kill the Kyuubi but had to seal it inside his newborn son exactly 2 hours after I was born, but where my father failed I somehow succeeded. Taking off his shirt enough to show the broken seal and the tattoo of Rip Kyuubi, making everyone who were afraid a moment ago when he mentioned the Kyuubi being in him question themselves." Naruto said, "And I saw the look you had on your face the moment you saw the whiskers on my face." Looking at Irika and Mizuki, "One of the curses I have to bear because of my father saving this village, so I know you already called me demon in your heads because you're like most people in this village. Can't see the jailer who makes sure the prisoner is locked away because of your hate. Even when the jailer executed the prisoner. Most likely someone you cared about died during that creature's attack. Well, guess what? My father died stopping it, and my mother was murdered by a member of the council, so I could be made into a weapon while my father was saving this village. I came back to this village to find out what was so special about it. My father and mother both died protecting it, and only thing I've seen so far are mixtures of fear and hate. As he turned and started to leave, the third, who was shocked about the outburst as well as the new information, and said, "Wait, Naruto. You said your mother was murdered. Do you have any proof, and who did it?" Naruto sighed and said, "I had proof. Danzo ordered her death, and the man who actually did it tried to kill me when I left the village at age 5. He even bragged about it when he tried to kill me. Angel jumped in the way and took the kunai from me. I pulled the kunai from her back and killed the man. It's how I first got her bloodline. I am sorry I made a mess of your classroom today, and I will come by your office tomorrow, old man. If you wish for me to leave the village, I will." It appears I got my answer I wanted to find out. I returned to see one of the few people I care about and also hope to make new friends, and I learned I will never be more than a demon to the people of this village. The sad thing is I don't feel hate for you and the rest of this village. I feel pity for it. And he left is a swirl of flames, shocking everyone. Irika for his part was stunned. He just tried to teach the kid a lesson in being respectful, and in the course of a few minutes the kid confessed about killing someone, one of the village's top S-rank secrets about why he was hated, and admitting the reason was not there and making everyone see him in a new light. He felt guilty now since he had nearly called the boy a demon. He looked at the sad eyes of the Hokage and asked, "Is what he said true?" "About his mother, I mean." The third said, "Irika, I believe every bit of it was true." Danzo was the first to say he had no family at the council meeting, and he would have been the only other person who knew what the yondaime was actually doing, and every council meeting he tried to get control of Naruto to be turned into the village's weapon. It saddens me, and makes me question why I remain leader of a village full of demons. As he walked out of the class, sadly ignoring the shocked looks on everyone's face. Outside the classroom, a dog masked Abner thought, "I have to hand it to you, Naruto, if you ever want to give up being a ninja, you can be one hell of an actor." Back inside, Irika looked at the confused faces of his students and said, "Class, since we have had so much ruckus and I need to have that window fixed, I am canceling classes today." Everyone got out of their cheers quietly. Normally they would have cheered and been happy, but with what they have seen and heard, they had a lot of questions. Over the next few hours, the Hokage was greeted by Hayashi Inoichi, Shibi Chuzutsu Shikaku, as well as a few others including Irika. Some wanting him gone, but a few others with questions and comments. The thing is, no one noticed the bird sitting on the windowsill sleeping there the whole day, or when it finally tried to fly away only to fall and go up in a puff of smoke. The next day when Naruto walked into the Hokage's office, he looked like he was ready to leave the village, and the third looked up at him and said, "What are you doing here, Naruto? Aren't you supposed to be at the academy?" Naruto looked confused and said, "But I thought after what happened yesterday, everyone in this village would have demanded I leave." The third said, "There were a few people, but most who came to see me yesterday actually asked for you to stay in the village. I guess not all hope is lost for this village." With a small smile, Naruto smiled a small one and said, "Perhaps not, old man." The third chuckled and said, "Before you go, why did you not reveal that to me about your mother?" Naruto sighed and said, "I asked a lot of you when I asked to help protect my fiancés. My mother's dead, and unless the Shinigami appears and offers me some kind of deal, I will never see her again. I have a future with my fiancés, so I trade what's left of my revenge for now to protecting them. If my path ever crossed Danzo, he's dead, but I won't go looking for him." The third nods and said, "At least you better than the Uchiha. He plans to kill a man because he killed the man who killed his family." Naruto asked, "So what now?" A voice from behind him said, "Well, now you need to get your ass to the academy. Almost the entire class is wondering if you are coming or not." As Naruto turned and saw Irika standing in the doorway, Naruto looks at the third, who said, "Get to class." Naruto smiles and said, "See you, old man. By the way, look at the monument." As he started to leave, both Irika and the Hokage monument and were wide-eyed as the mountain had been painted, but not in a way to make it look like graffiti, but in a way to show the Hokages as they were. Pride and love for the village. Though the third chuckled as he read the billboard above. In bubbles above each of their heads, the Hokages each had a saying in them. The Shodame's head, why could my bloodline not be something better than controlling plants? My wife makes me rake the leaves after I use it. The Nidame had, let's see if I were to make it where every Friday the entire village has to wear white I can have a wet t-shirt contest. The Sandame had, I wonder when Jiraiya next book will come out. And the Yandame said, why can't anything exciting happen instead of paperwork? Iruka was wide-eyed and asked how. Naruto said the village needs to up its security patrols. Old man Iruka looked at the Hokage, who said leave it up for the rest of the week, then take the billboard down. Leave the paints since he made them look lifelike. Iruka turned to Naruto and said come on brat. And took him to the academy. When Naruto walked in, everyone looked at him and he noticed a few people actually smiled at him. Things were changing for the better though, the key coming off Mizuki will have to be dealt with. Later. Iruka said, okay class, now that our new student is here, let's do a quick review on chakra and its applications. Making a few people groan. Over the next few days, the class settled down with the new student in their midst. At first everyone was unsure about how to approach him until Kiba said, so Namikaze, what you like to do besides make my sister horny? Making everyone who heard him sweat drop. Naruto said, well, first off, call me Naruto. Namikaze make me feel like I am old. You helped save my ass, so I guess I can be me around you. I like to pull pranks. In fact, the Hokage monument was me, which I gotta clean up tomorrow. Who is your companion, if you don't mind me asking? Kiba was wide-eyed and said his name is Akamaru. You did that? Pointing to the monument. Naruto said, yeah, I figure if I was leaving I might as well do something to make everyone remember me. Anyways, I also write books and make a lot of money doing it. Kiba asked, oh yeah, what kind of books? Naruto smirked as he saw several people listening to him, and he said, I'm the author of the Hermit Diary series. Making several people thud who heard him, including a red-eyed woman who was in a tree watching her daughter Hinata. Naruto said shit. As he saw several girls pull out copies of his book, and he grabbed Kiba and ran up the side of the academy building using chakra, stopping everyone, though one could have done the same thing except Hinata had asked what she was doing there. As Naruto and Kiba landed on the roof, Kiba was looking at him and asked, hey, how did you do that, man? Naruto looked to make sure no one was following and saw Shikamaru and Choji sitting on the roof, and he said, chakra control. Remind me not to mention that book again around woman. We both were about to be mauled. Kiba looked back down at the girls on the ground and sweat dropped before saying, man, you just screwed yourself. You officially have a fan club now. Making Naruto look over and groan as he saw signs saying different things to try and get his attention, like sign my book, you the best, can we work on making the next edition? Naruto sighed and said, and woman said, men are perverted. Anyways, beside pranks and writing I also play shogi and I love eating different foods, though my fiancé Nan can make the best onigiri rice balls in the world. Choji said, I doubt that, man. Nobody can beat my mom's onigiri. Naruto looked over and said, oh, is that a challenge? Choji said, Choji, and this is Shikamaru, and I suppose it is. Looking at Naruto. Naruto said, fine. And he bit his thumb and swiped the blood on the weasel and said, summoning jutsu. And a 3-foot weasel appeared and said, what is it you need, Naruto-sama? Making all three of the guys around him wide-eyed. Naruto said, I need you to go to Nan and ask her if she can send me some of her fresh onigiri. Someone here says they have tasted better. That is if she has time to. The weasel bowed and Kiba asked, what is that, and what are those tattoos? Naruto looked at them and said, summoning seals. Each of the animals pictured on my arm are summons I can do. Shikamaru took a quick look and then closed his eyes before darting back at it again and said, you have 5 of them. Naruto scratched his head and said, I think it's actually 6. The one with the Shinigami on it I'm afraid to use because Ero Sannin, and I believe that it might be the jutsu dad used to call the Shinigami to seal Kyuubi in me in the first place. Kiba asked, don't you know since it's on your body? Naruto sighed and said, when I was around 6, the guy who took me away from the village as a request of my father and trained me along with his wife and daughter were traveling when we were attacked. I don't know who the guys who attacked us was, but I know they had Iwa headbands and he told me to take his daughter and run, which I did, and something happened and my entire memory was lost from that day to I was about 9 when Tsunade saved my life and broke whatever happened to cause me to lose my memory. However, everything I did during those years is lost to me. Angel, my other fiancé, was with me during that time, but she said she won't tell me under orders of Tsunade since it could actually hurt my memory then make it come back. All I do know is that during that time Kyuubi died, I got this tattoo on my arm which originally had the puppet, the fox, the sword, the scrolls and the Shinigami. With help from Ero-Sannin, I was able to learn everything I had in them and how to work them, and then I was given the summonings by my friends. Just then the weasel reappeared with a bento full of onigiri and said, Nan-sama asked me to tell you that she loves you and you better not be taking after Jiraiya and peeping on women at the bathhouse or else. Before it went up in smoke. Naruto picked up the bento and opened it and handed one to each of them and they ate it and Choji paled and said, I take it back, hers is better than my mom's. Please forgive me, Mom. As he looked down with sorrow before taking another bite, making everyone laugh. Shikamaru asked, how good are you at shogi? Naruto looked at him and said, the only person to beat me is my fiancé. Want to play a game? Now there are things in the ninja world that will never be answered. Where the hell Tenten pulls such big ass scrolls from, and where do women always pull out weapons from when a moment earlier they were naked in the hot springs? Another of these mysteries is how the laziest guy on the planet can move at increasable speeds that even a Sharingan can't follow, and make a shogi board appear ready to play like it's a life or death battle. This is the case with Shikamaru. Naruto started to play in a very unorthodox strategy that made Shikamaru raise an eyebrow after 5 moves and put his hand in a thinking pose. Choji saw this and knew what he was doing and said, you must be good, because only his dad ever makes him think like that. As he ate another onigiri. Kiba groaned and asked, how can you play that? Naruto asked, do you know where shogi first came from, Kiba? Kiba said, a box. Naruto snickered and said, no, shogi was actually a game invented to help some general or leader or something like that into making more strategic battle plans to win battles. Note, I am not for sure about that, but it sounds good and I actually want to learn to play it, but nobody I know even knows what the game is, so I am unfortunately dumb when it comes to the idea, so don't sue me. They say that if you can play this game and become good at it, that you can plan a strategy using 10 men and beat 50 with just simple planning. Most of the fights I have been in, I have used strategies like the ones I use on this game. Kiba looked at the board with renewed interest and asked, so you're saying that if I spent time learning to play this I could be stronger and better leader? Naruto said, better leader, yes, stronger no, this is a battle of the mind, but you will be able to make better decision that could make you stronger. Kiba looked down at this thinking he found something to make him a better clan head when he grew up, and Shikamaru said, I can't believe it, but we're going to tie. Making Choji choke, and Naruto asked how many moves. Shikamaru said 31. Naruto said, damn, I only thought about 25, how smart are you really, and don't give me you book grades since I have seen that you only answered just enough to make sure you will be on the same team as Choji here when we graduate. Making all 3 look at him. Kiba asked, what do you mean by that, man? Naruto said, simple, from what I have seen and heard about Konoha, they always put the rookie of the year with the dead last, and then everyone else they base similar to that, but also those with about the same grades, and 1 strategist, 1 taijutsu specialist and 1 genjutsu user. Shikamaru asked, how smart are you? Naruto said 189, Shikamaru said 204, Naruto bowed and said, I see. Kiba asked, what are you both talking about? Naruto said, IQ. Most people are between 120 to 160 on IQ. Because of the training and things I have seen and done, I am a little smarter than average. Shikamaru here on the other hand is a genius. Anyone with over 200 is a genius. Just then the bell rang and Naruto groaned and said, I feel a need for a prank, anyone interested? Making all 3 look at him. About 10 minutes later, all 4 were in class when the door opened and a woman walked into the class, and Irika asked, who are you and what are you doing here? I am trying to teach my class. The woman looked around and said, oh, I was looking for a young man named Mizuki Tuji. Mizuki looked at her and said, Mizuki, what do you need of me? The woman said, I got something for you, young man. As she reached into her purse and pulled out a scroll and handed it to him. Mizuki asked, what is it? The woman said inside that scroll are details of an account that was set up for you as an infant that has been closed due to a business decision on the part of the bank. Now if you will excuse me, I must be leaving. As she turned and walked out of the room, Mizuki looked at it and opened the scroll and started to read. Mizuki Tuji, I am here to inform you that an account set up for you by. Suddenly the scroll exploded and pink paint covered Mizuki as the scroll burst into flames and the entire class burst out laughing, and Irika was looking at Mizuki with a mixture of laughing at his misfortune and fear of whoever did it, and he screamed, "Settle down," making everyone shut up and try to stop laughing. Mizuki screamed, "Who did it?" making everyone look at him questionably and then at each other. Kiba said, "What's wrong, Miss Tuji?" In between howls of laughter, Mizuki became pissed and moved faster than most could look and appeared in front of Kiba with his fist drawn back to punch him when Naruto appeared in front of Kiba blocking the punch in his hand, shocking everyone by not only his speed but that he caught the punch, and he said, "Kiba, you alright?" Kiba was shocked and said, "Yeah man." In disbelief, and then he looked at Mizuki in anger and said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Naruto squeezed Mizuki's hand and said, "I don't know what is your problem. Obviously you did something that makes people want to pull a prank on you, but nobody will lay a hand on a friend of mine as long as I can stop it. However, I think, should you have finished that punch, you would have lost the ability to have sex. Isn't that right, Akamaru?" As he looked at the dog in between Mizuki's feet ready to bite him in the nuts. Irika said, "That's enough, Naruto and Mizuki, I want you to go and get cleaned up and don't come back until you see someone about that anger." Mizuki said, "You can't order me to do that." A voice from the window said, "No, but I can." In a cold voice, making everyone look and see the face of a dog-masked Abnu. Irika asked, "What is an Abnu here for, sir?" The Abnu said, "I was in the area on guard duty, and I heard the explosion and decided to investigate. Now you're coming with me, Mizuki, to see the Hokage." As he walked over and both left as a swirl of leaves, Naruto started back over toward his seat and Kiba grabbed his arm and said, "Thanks man, I owe you one." Naruto smiled and said, "That's what friends are for, man. Besides, I think Team deserved worse than what he got." As he turned and walked back to his seat, Irika looked at him and smiled to himself. Naruto was not a bad person like he originally thought, though he wondered who pulled that prank on Mizuki. As class continued, Naruto saw the looks a few people were giving him and smiled. Making friends were easy when you knew them. Over the next few days, Naruto got to know Kiba better. The one thing he knew for sure was that Kiba was loyal as long as you don't betray that trust. He also got to know Choji and Shikamaru better. Naruto tried some of Choji's favorite foods and the two compared notes, and Shikamaru started playing Naruto serious and started winning, though they were close matches. He vowed never to underestimate Naruto again. Today Naruto was sitting under a tree when a bug landed on his arm and Naruto looked at it and said, "Hey, you hungry? I would feed you my chakra, but I think your colony would not like mine, so how about some rice?" As he laid some on the ground, the bug ate it and flew away, and a boy in a nearby tree raised an eyebrow at what his bug told him. Deciding to take a chance, he appeared in the tree by Naruto, who surprised him when he said, "Your Kakashi don't bother me, though I don't suggest having them try and take chakra from me. Even though Kyuubi's gone, I have a lot of its chakra still in my body to keep it from killing me. They might die from it." In a normal voice with his eyes closed, Shino asked, "How do you know about my bugs and what they do?" Naruto bit his thumb and ran it across the seal of scrolls on his arm and said, "Konoha clans." And a book popped out and he tossed it up to Shino, who caught it and looked at it and said, "I see." Naruto said, "I thought if I was going to return to Konoha, I should be prepared as best as possible to make the most logical decisions I could, though I am human and do make mistakes." Shino used Bug Shushin to appear next to Naruto and said, "You are unusual." Naruto said, "True, but I respect those who know the pain of being burdened with another life, whether it be Bug Demon or other things. The name's Naruto and you are." As he looked at Shino, Shino looked at him and said, "Shino." Naruto nods and said, "I am getting ready to play Shikamaru a game of shogi, want to come?" Choji and Kiba will be there, and Kiba learning how to play from Choji, who is trying more of my fiance's recipes. I would like to get to know you better, and I think you would like someone else to get to know you outside of your clan, if I were to guess. Shino studied him looking for any sign of deception and found none and said very well. No frogs please. Naruto snickered and said unless your bugs are made of sweets, the only they have to worry about the frog I summon is a contact high. But out of respect for them and you, I won't summon a frog unless there is a battle. Shino nods and asked, why do you talk and act like a seasoned shinobi? As him and Naruto walked toward the academy. Naruto sighed and said just because I admitted to killing once, does not mean I have not had to do it again. If I see someone I care about in danger, I will do everything in my power to protect them. Including sacrificing my life. How much do you know about me honestly, Shino? Truthfully on your clan's honor. As they stopped walking. Shino was quite a moment and said I know what you told us at the academy, I also know that there is more to you than you let on. My bugs told me that you live in a building that is considered to have better security than the Hokage Tower. You also seem to know more than you claim. My bugs told me that you speak the truth, but also that it's a half-truth. You edit things for what reason I don't know. I also know you have a connection to another village. Naruto nods and said I will tell you about it, but let's join the others first. They deserve to know also. As they continued to walk. A few minutes later, the pair walked onto the roof to see Kiba lose to Shikamaru and Choji eating, and Naruto said, hey, I got someone who wants to get to know us. Making everyone turn, and Choji said, hey Shino. Who nods back? Naruto smiled and said, well, I guess I can tell you all now. Shino and I was talking and he raised a few questions I think you all should know. Making everyone look at him and Shino. Shikamaru said this is about the way you came into town and why all the clan heads are going out of their way to make you happy. Naruto sighed and said I guess that's to be expected. You all heard about the hidden village in waves that appeared in the less than 10 years. Making everyone look at each other and nod. Naruto said well because of my book sales and also a financial advisor my father entrusted me with I am self-supported. When the people I was traveling with at the time learned about a man named Gatu. The same Gatu who was a millionaire and shipping tycoon, we were not impressed with what we found out. It turns out he used his money to pay the politicians in an area and then used missing Nines and Merc to force people into slavery, prostitution, drugs and other illegal activities. He was in wave at the time and had just about crippled the economy there, and one of the local heroes of the village who tried to stand up to him was about to be publicly executed in front of the entire village to prove a point of what would happen should they not follow his rule. We stopped him and helped them get back on their feet and even went as far as helping them build the bridge that connects them to the mainland. We talked with them and came up with the idea of forming a new hidden village to help protect them. I used about 80% of my money to help get supplies, equipment, food, labor and other things to help the village get built. It was not just what I did for that village, but also for the entire country as a whole that they offered me a job. Kiba said it's the least they could do for you, paying for everything. In a joking manner. Naruto smiles and said they named me the Shodaime Namikaze. Making all four of them wide-eyed. Shino asked then why are you here if you are a Kage? Naruto said simple, I helped get the village going but I do not feel I was the best person to be leader at the time because I know a Kage is supposed to have over 1000 jutsu and be able to protect the whole village. I don't know how many jutsu I do know and never really bothered to look, and I thought that if people found out a 10-year-old was the Kage of a village they would not respect the village and might attack the village, so I looked through everyone until I found someone who believed the way I did and respects everyone no matter if they had a bloodline, money, clan, flat out broke or an orphan, and I named him the Nidaime. Over the next 2 years I showed him everything I was planning for the village and then retired officially this year, exactly 4 years from the day I was named Shodaime and almost halfway through my term in office. Since I was so helpful to the village, they still view me as the leader, though I stepped down. Now I am more of an advisor on matters, and since I had promised the Hokage I would come to Konoha before the kids my age graduated, I came back. I can't reveal secrets of the other village, which is why I have this seal on my neck so someone like that blonde in our class can't enter my mind. There is more to it, but under orders of the Nidaime Namikaze as well as the Sandaime Hokage I can't tell you anything else except when I become a ninja I will be considered a ninja of both villages, like someone who has a political marriage to another village. Everyone listened to him and Shikamaru said so there is going to be an alliance between our village, huh? Naruto looked at him and said I can't say one way or another. I wish I could, but I can't. Kiba asked. So what's it like being the leader of a village? Naruto groaned and said too much paperwork. Making everyone snicker. Naruto smiled and said, hey Kiba. You said you wanted to get stronger, right? I can't tell you anything else about how come I am an academy student, but I can tell you something that could make you stronger and better. Getting everyone attention. Kiba asked, really what? Naruto asked, you all saw me climb walls and stick to the ceiling, right? I can teach you all how to do that, and if you practice it a little each day, it will make your chakra control go up as well as how much chakra you have, meaning you can do more jutsu longer. Any of you interested? Everyone looked at him and Kiba said, show me. And everyone else gave looks of interest. About 10 minutes later, Naruto was standing upside down off of a tree branch, having threw a few kuniyas on the ground and said, too much chakra you blow off, too little you don't stick. Use your kuniyas to mark how high you can get. Once you can make it to the top, no problem, run up and down the tree for an hour without having to stop, and then I can show you the next step. Choji looked scared and asked, why do we want to do this again? Naruto sighed and said, tell you what. How about we make a bet out of this? Making every one of the four look at him. Shikamaru asked, what kind of bet? Naruto said, if you all can work together and get to the top of the tree and back down without stopping one time before the end of the day, I will teach each of you one jutsu. They all looked at each other, and Kiba asked, what jutsu? Naruto put his thumb to his chin and said, how about a fire jutsu that my fiancé made that shoots fireballs out of your ass? With a straight face. The look all four of them gave him was pure lust, and Kiba said, if you can show us it, then you got yourself a bet. Naruto smirked, putting his hands in seals too fast for them to see, and said, fire style farting fire, and he bent over and a fireball shot out of his ass and as a tree, blowing a hole through it, and all of them grabbed a kunai and started going up the tree. An Abnu, who was watching, quickly left and appeared in front of the Hokage and said, sir, I have something to report. Making the third look at him. The third asked, what is it, Raven? Raven said, I was watching Namikaze as you requested, and he got the heirs of the Nara, Akimichi, Aburame and Inuzuka clans, teaching them tree climbing. The third said, that's nothing I should be worried about. It's a good skill to learn, and the earlier the better. Raven said, but he told them that if they all could learn it by the end of the day, then he would teach him a jutsu, and he demonstrated it for them. The third said, really, which one? Curious, since most of Naruto's skills are unknown. Raven said he called it fire style farting fire, and it shoots a fireball out of the user's ass, sir. Making the third spit out coffee he was about to drink. The third said, I see, thank you for bringing this to my attention, and let me know if anything else happens. Return to your post. And Raven left. The third asked, what kind of sick jutsu is that? Kakashi, who was on guard duty in the Hokage office today, said, a brilliant one if you think about it. Making the third look at him and ask, what do you mean? Kakashi said, well, suppose you had been captured and your hands are tied behind your back and could not get to your mouth to use a fire jutsu. If you had that jutsu, you could possibly free yourself of kill you capture. It might also be good for an assassination mission for some of our female ninjas should they have to seduce the target and has to be nude or something, though I am just guessing from what Raven said. The third nods and said, I see your point, though I will talk to Naruto about it tomorrow. Let's see what progress those four make. 2 hours later, Kiba and Shino were still trying, and surprisingly Choji and Shikamaru both got it, and Kiba asked, why is it that me and Shino are having such a hard time at this and those two already got it? As he was panting, Naruto giggled and said, all right. Time to tell you all why you can or can't do it so far. As he grabs 2 handful of leaves and jumps down at the group and put all of the leaves in one hand while he held one in the other and said, okay Shino, Kiba. The hand here I have that is full of leaves is your chakra levels. Shino has a lot since his bugs eats his so that they will follow his command, and you Kiba have it from all the physical exercise you do with your family jutsu. Now Shikamaru and Choji here don't exercise as much or use their chakra like you two do, so they have less to control, like the single leaf in my other hand. Now a single leaf would be easy to control. As the leaf floats into the air, and then he said, but with all these other leaves added to it makes it more difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. As he had them all float off his hand, but not as easily as the single leaf had. Kiba said so it's harder for us to do it because we trained harder. Naruto said basically yes. That is why I wanted you all to do this exercise. Say in a fight Shikamaru could capture you and outthink you, but say if while he was thinking of a plan he ran out of chakra, you Kiba who would be fighting to make him use his more would break free and beat him, so you see it is a balance of brains over strength. This exercise is a high genin exercise, and you normally would not be allowed to learn it until several months into your genin years, so I am giving you all a head start to be better ninja. If you have this jutsu down, then you can learn this next. As he walked out onto the lake shocking them all, and he said this is the next step of chakra control, which is a chunin level technique. It is an extension of tree climbing, so the sooner you can do tree climbing, the sooner you can do this. They both not only help increase your stamina chakra control chakra levels, but also endurance. Since it's almost dark, I will give you all another chance to learn that fire jutsu. If in 2 weeks you can do the tree climbing up and down the tree one time and the water walking where you can cross this river both ways one time, I will teach it to you, but only if you all learn it as a group. Shino can be an exception if it is harmful to his bugs on the water walking, but if it is, then he has to be able to make it up and down a tree 5 times without stopping. Everyone was thinking, and Choji asked, how long did it take you to learn these, Naruto? Naruto said the tree climbing took me 2 days to learn it, but Angel did it right on her first try. However, after I got it down, I had to learn water walking while being attacked on a hot spring, so I learned it quick. As he shivered, making them all fearful. Kiba said I won't back out of this, and will take your challenge. Right guys? As he looked at the others, Naruto said, well, since it's Friday I got things to do this weekend, so see ya. As he left in a swirl of flames the next day, Naruto walked into the Hokage office and he smiled and said, what can I do for you, Naruto? Naruto handed him a scroll and said that the medical report from Tsunade on me that you asked for. The third smiled and asked, so how's the training coming? Naruto said, well, they missed the first deadline to learn a jutsu I promised, but I gave them another deadline with a tougher challenge. They have to learn both tree climbing and water walking in 2 weeks to learn the same jutsu. I assume the Abnu told you. The third said yes. What rank is that jutsu, and what does it do, Naruto? Naruto said C rank jutsu. It's a concentrated fire jutsu like the regular Phoenix Fireball jutsu, however, unlike it you don't have to take a deep breath and alert your enemy to the use of it. Instead, you just have to have a fart in you to be able to do it. The best thing about it is that it can't be copied since no bloodline I know of can register the release of gas from your butt unless it is heightened sciences, but then they would be running away from the gas, not the fireball. With a smile on his face. The third shook his head and said, please don't teach them anything over a C-rank jutsu, Naruto. I could order you not to teach at all, but I know you would go behind my back. Naruto said, sure, old man. Well, I guess I will catch you later. And he left to go relax and write to his fiancées. It had been about a month since Naruto arrived, and his friendship with Kiba, Shino, Choji, and Shikamaru has been going great. Sasuke, after hearing about what Naruto did outside the academy the first day, had been secretly following them, but somehow every time Ichi gets close enough to see they are all sitting taking a break and it pisses him off. The man he wants to kill can use both jutsu Naruto used, so he knows he has to have them to beat the man. Sakura and Ino both have ignored the little group and chased after Sasuke. Hinata has been too shy to do anything, which is how Naruto got into this situation today. Here he was at the gates of the Hyuga compound waiting an audience with Hayashi Hyuga. After a few minutes a branch member came out and said, follow me. As he lead Naruto into the Hyuga main house. A few-minute walk lead him into a large study, and the branch member said, please have a seat, Namikaze-sama. Hayashi-sama shall be with you shortly. Naruto nods and walks over and sits down waiting patiently. Hayashi walks in with both Hanabi and Hinata each on one side of him, and he sits down while both stood, and he asked, to what do I owe the pleasure of your visit, Namikaze-san? Naruto said, please call me Naruto Hyuga-sama, and the reason I have come is some information has come into my possession that I believe you would like very much. Hayashi said, really, Naruto, what kind of information would that be? Naruto said, as you are aware, I have ties to the hidden village of Wave. During a mission to Cloud, a friend of mine recovered some important documents of the Yondaime Reikage, and with those documents was the exact details of the kidnapping attempt on Hinata that the Godaime Reikage had planned, including how they knew where her room was. All three Hyugas were wide-eyed, and Hayashi asked, how is it that your friend was able to get these documents? Naruto said, since nearly everyone in this village knows what a Jinchuriki is, I can tell you she was the Jinchuriki of Cloud before we helped her escape, and she was also the daughter of the Yondaime Reikage who was assassinated by the Godame. Unlike me, she has completely absorbed the demon that was sealed into her. She went to collect her family scrolls and also some personal effects of hers, and while she was there, she also broke into the safe in the Reikage office, and got her father's diary as well as all the other documents in the safe which had this. As he pulled a scroll out of his pocket, Hayashi looked at it and asked, what is it you want in exchange for it? Naruto said, after I received this scroll and read it, I was originally asked to give it to the Hokage to deal with it as he saw fit because the information in it could have several people executed for treason. However, I thought that it would be better for you to handle this matter yourself, Hyuga-sama, since I found out about your nephew and also the effect it had on Hinata here. Hayashi looked at Naruto and asked, what is it you wish to accomplish with this offer? With narrowed eyes, Naruto said, I have 3 requests I would like to request, but I will give this to you to deal with free of charge, and if you chose to listen to my request afterwards will be up to you. As he handed the scroll to Hayashi, Hayashi judged Naruto and picked the scroll up and started to read as his eyes got wide for a moment, and then he closed the scroll and asked, what is your request? Naruto pulled out another scroll and said, I have 3 requests and they are listed on this scroll. 1 request that will help Konoha, 1 request that I believe will help your clan, and 1 request for myself. As he handed it to him, Hayashi opened the scroll and read, Hyuga-sama, my first request is that the Hyuga clan ask for permission to do a detailed security search of the village. I have noticed in the short time I have been here there are several places in the village that should an enemy decide to they could hurt Konoha, including the hospitals, the Hokage Tower, the academy, the walls of the village, the residential area of the village as well as the main gates. I know Konoha has had several years of peace, but I believe that it is always best to be safe and sorry, and I figure your clan's bloodline would be able to look at an area from different points and determine security risk. My second request is that with the information I provided you that you do what they tricked you into not doing. Unifying your clan. I have also noticed that Hinata has talents in other areas besides the Hyuga fighting style, and I believe that her skills would be able to increase if she were allowed to develop these skills. She could bring a new look for your clan and make them even more famous and proud. The area I speak of is medical skills. I wrote my observations about her to my friend Tsunade when I was requesting my medical information for the Hokage, and she said if you would allow it then she would send information that would enable her to tap into that potential. My last request is a personal matter. Even with the Kyuubi no longer in me, I do have a risk to myself. My body has a massive chakra reserve that is near fatality levels for me. Jiraiya sealed it all away because when him and Tsunade found me my coils were at the point they were about to explode. The problem is every 6 months the seal he created releases 5 of the chakra into my system damaging my coils, and Tsunade gave me one of her forbidden healing jutsu to repair the damage it does. However, she has always been around to ensure that there are no holes that do not repair and kill me, and since she is unable to currently come to Konoha for another year, I need some way to have my coils checked while being discreet about the matter. I request that someone who you trust with total secrecy, even to those of your clan, check my coils after the process and inform me if there are any leaks. The person should also check my coils before the process so they have a base to compare it to. Thank you for your time, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Hayashi looked at the scroll and said, you have given me a lot to think about, Naruto. When is the next time that the process should occur? Naruto said, I have about 5 weeks before it will happen. I currently have 40% of the total that was sealed away and have 60 left to tap into. Hayashi said, I do believe that all of your requests are reasonable, especially with what you have offering. I will need time to weigh my options. Is there anything else I should know? Naruto said, yes. I know that there will always be bad blood between Cloud and your clan, but if my friend from Wave ever comes to Konoha for either missions or the Chunin exams, please do not treat her as you would someone from Cloud. She hates that village with every fiber of her being, and she also has a connection to your clan. Making all 3 look at him, Hayashi asked, what do you mean? Naruto said, perhaps it would be better to discuss this privately, sir. I know you trust both your daughter, but with what I have to say could be used against every person with a bloodline and must be treated very carefully. There is already one person who knows what I do and is currently trying to take advantage of it. Hayashi narrowed his eyes and said very well, Hinata Hanabi, please leave the room. After both left, he asked what is it that is so important that I cannot tell my daughters. Naruto sighed and said do you know what will happen if I die Hayashi? Making Hayashi confused, and he said nothing why. Naruto said wrong. Since I am the only source of Kyuubi left on this planet because of my body absorbing it for almost 6 years, the moment I die Sasuke Uchiha will go blind. Making Hayashi confused. Hayashi asked what would Kyuubi and you have to do with the Uchiha. Naruto said I know why Kyuubi attacked Konoha. I also know that there is more than one Uchiha left alive right now. Hayashi saw the serious look on Naruto's face and asked how do you know of this? Naruto locked eyes with Hayashi and he found himself in a world with a blue moon in the sky and Naruto said welcome to my bloodline world Hayashi. I call it the Kitsune world. As Hayashi looked around, he asked where are we and why have you brought me here? Naruto said the seal my father put on me had a special security feature to ensure Kyuubi would never be able to mess with my mind until I knew it was there. When I left the village, the Hokage had told me about the fox. I soon met the fox in my mind and it gave me 2 memories, and they explain why it attacked the village. I brought you here so that I can show them to you, and so you will know why my friend is connected to your clan. Our bodies are still in your office, and we are currently in my mind. Now I am sorry to do it this way but I can't take the chance someone will overhear. The world shimmered and then it reappeared in a dark cave. The Kyuubi was sleeping when 3 men walked into the cave. Kyuubi opened its eyes and asked who are you mortals, and why have you come to my Denver? One stepped forward and said my name is Kyuubi, and this is my brother Johnny. This is my best friend Madara Hyuga. We came to ask for your help. Making Hayashi eyes wide as he was seeing the first 2 Hokage and the first Uchiha standing there. Kyuubi said what is it you ask of me humans? Kien stepped forward and said we are the leaders of a group of nomads and we wish to create a home for our people, however, we have no way to build it or protect it because our people are starving and tired of being chased. We came to you to ask for your help to protect us while we build our home. Kyuubi was quite a moment and said I will not protect you but I can give you gifts that will help you. I see one of you already has a gift from one of my kind. Looking at Madara. Madara said if you mean my bloodline it is more of a curse than a gift. I am a branch member of my clan who fled with nearly 30 of my family to start a new life. Sadly I am all that remains, because the others have either abandoned us or have died. I don't want this gift. Kyuubi was quiet and said very well. You shall have mastery of plants, you shall be able to make trees grow to make shelters for your people and food for them to eat. Johnny, you shall have mastery over water so the plants may grow and your people will not die of thirst. Lastly we have you. You will have the mastery of fire. You will be given the task of protecting the others of your group and ensure their survival since I will have to deal with Nibi over this. Now this will hurt. As 3 tails wrapped around the 3 men and engulfed them and they screamed out in pain and after a few minutes the tails fell backwards and showed that all 3 men's looks have changed and Hayashi gasped as he saw the Sharingan in Madara's eyes. Kyuubi said be gone and do not disturb me again. And the memory faded and Hayashi asked so that's how the Sharingan came to be. Naruto nods and said yes, now it's time to see why Kyuubi attacked the world changed again and this time Kyuubi was asleep in its den again when a single figure appeared and said hello Kyuubi. It's been a while. Making Kyuubi look and ask who are you mortal? The man said oh I am sure you remember me. After all you did give me this lovely eye. Showing the Sharingan. Kyuubi said Madara Hyuga, but how? You should be dead by now. Confused. Madara snickered and said oh Kyuubi, I must thank you for this gift you gave me. I mean sure being able to use fire as I can and all the other abilities it has is great but my favorite one is the gift I got when I killed my best friend the Keen. To think there was another level to this and all you have to do is kill your best friend. Kyuubi narrowed its eyes and said I should have let you suffer with your old bloodline. Now die human. As it went to swipe its paw at Madara when suddenly black flames shot out of his eye and burned Kyuubi, and then more black flames came and he said yes Kyuubi. The Amaterasu is my favorite ability. It burns for 7 days and 7 nights. I told the secret to my entire clan and we are waiting for you, Kyuubi. Oh, and to answer how I am still alive demon, I learned I can transfer my soul and my mind into another body and make it my own, though I stay with my own clan's body since it has such a nice gift. Kyuubi said if you kill me, I will have my revenge, because your bloodline will not work without my chakra still in this world. Madara laughed and said I am all too aware of that. You think I tricked those two fools to come here to get a bloodline without knowing how they were started? I'd read my family archives before I left looking for a way to escape the seal, and I learned that should the demon who creates a bloodline die and all traces of its chakra leave this world, then all the bloodlines that demon creates shall quit working. I know this. That's why I have plans to make you a prisoner forever. Ha 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 ha. As he leaves in a swirl of leaves. Kyuubi, who is crying in pain, said I shall destroy you Madara and your entire clan for this betrayal. As the flames continued to burn. Suddenly, the memory faded and Naruto appeared in front of Hayashi and said my friend who has absorbed her demon is the Jinchuriki for Nibi, the same demon who created your bloodline. My fiancée Nat also is like her since she is a Jinchuriki, but she has absorbed her demon as well, but not before finding out some information. As long as one of our descendants live, then the other bloodlines will continue to work, so the girl who had Nibi in her has to have a child or when she dies you go blind. And the world faded and Hayashi found himself back in his study. He was quiet and asked Madara is the one who knows this, and is the one still alive, isn't he? Naruto nods and said you see now why this information is so dangerous. Jiraiya has been gathering information for a few years on a group who plan to capture all the tailed demons. Now what would happen if all of them died except for Kyuubi? Hayashi's eyes got wide at the implications and said every hidden village would become crippled instantly. Naruto nods and said I guess my opinion of demons are a little one-sided Hyuga-sama, but when you see those two memories and then live the life I had, my ideas of demons and monsters are a little different. You don't need Kyuubi in you to be a monster. Well, I know I gave you a lot to think about and how to spend this best for your clan and all, but personally I think you should unify your clan, remove the council, make Neji clan head after you remove that seal, and find one that protects your family without enslaving them. Take care. As he walked out. On his way out, he saw Hinata standing looking at the ground and he slipped a piece of paper in her hand as he walked by without stopping. Once he was gone, she looked at it and read, not liking to fight does not make you weak. Sometimes the strongest fighters are the ones who heal. Become a good woman and make you mother proud. Screw the council and be yourself. I'm proud of you. Hinata smiled to herself a real smile and went to her room to change. She had things she wanted to take care of. Naruto was walking away from the Hyuga compound when he sighed and said, so how long you going to keep sneaking around and following me, Sasuke? As he turned to look at the boy who was hiding behind a tree. Sasuke said, fight me. Naruto turned and started to walk away and Sasuke ran at him and tried to grab his shoulder to turn him around when Naruto stepped to the side, making Sasuke overbalance himself and nearly fall on his butt from pulling backwards. Naruto kept on walking and Sasuke charged again and Naruto safely stepped aside again, this time making him fall forward, but he rolled with it and came back to his feet and tried to hit Naruto, who looked bored and then did a walking slide step to make it where his back was flushed against Sasuke and said, your hate's not strong enough, little brother. In a whisper just loud enough for Sasuke to hear, making said boy freeze in his place as flashbacks of the massacre went into his head. Naruto walked away some more when Sasuke pulled out a kunai and charged Naruto, screaming, I'm going to kill you. As he tried to stab Naruto in the back. Naruto smirked and replaced himself with Sasuke, who momentum still carried him, causing him to roll down the hill and into the lake below, and Naruto said, what was that about, Sasuke? You called me Itachi and then tried to attack me. Making Sasuke flinch. Sasuke, who was sitting in about a foot of water, glared at him and asked, how do you know that? Naruto asked, know what? I asked you why you keep following me, and then you told me to fight you and I walked away since I don't feel like a spar today, and then you call me Itachi and charged. Who is Itachi anyways? Sasuke looked, trying to find some sign of lying, and saw the confused look on Naruto's face and tried to remember it, and he decided to worry about it later since his pride had been destroyed and said humph. As he got up and walked to the shore and started going toward the Uchiha district. Naruto smiled and said, your turn, dear. As he turned and walked back toward his apartment. When Sasuke got back to the Uchiha district, he saw Itachi standing there in front of him and he said, if you wish to kill me, hate me, detest me and survive in an unsightly way, run and cling to life. And one day when you have the same eyes as me, come before me. As he stood in front of a house and started to laugh a sick maniacal laugh that made Sasuke hold his head and scream out in pain. Suddenly, smoke started from inside the house, then another and another and another. Soon, smoke was seen coming from all of the buildings in the Uchiha district as they all burst into flames. Suddenly on the ground in front of Sasuke in blood the word murderer appeared and he saw ghost of his clan's men walking around pointing fingers at him, calling him murderer, failure, traitor, you killed us, as he held his head in pain. Then as suddenly as it all started it disappeared and Sasuke was rocking back and forward saying, I killed them. I killed them. Over and over again. A fox smiled as she looked at the shatter person she just left behind as she turned to go visit her fiancé. When she got there, she saw Naruto and Nan sitting at the table with a plate for her, and Nan asked, so how did it go? Angel smirked and said, I say, with the mental damage I just did with that illusion, he should go from Rookie of the Year to dead last fast. Nan nods and said, the Uchiha pride is what started this mess. Having my brother show the world the dark side of the clan will allow the changes that need to be made by me for our children easier. It will also serve to change the town's view of him. As she took a bite of rice, Naruto said, with that info you got for me, the Hyuga clan is about to go a drastic change. If things go like we planned, Yujito will be able to live in Konoha after we finish of Akatsuki. Nan said, all in good time. All in good time. Naruto said, I'm glad that you both could come here and see me. I was getting lonely. Angel asked, lonely enough to do that? Naruto sighed and said, no, Ero Kitsune. I told you we had to wait until the Chunin exams. I can't take the risk one or both of you get pregnant before then, and don't say you know birth control jutsu because none of us know for sure what our bodies will do now. How did you get here anyways? Nan said, well, we told your dad we were coming to see you, and if he said no, then we would have your mom show him why she was a Kage. Naruto shivers and said, I think her and Ibiki are related. I did not know you could do some of the things she came up with for torture. Angel asked, so if you won't let us do that, can we at least take a shower together? Naruto had exactly .002 seconds to register the words before he found himself tied to the shower wall naked, watching both his fiancé wash each other off, making him groan, and said, this is so not fair. Nan said, then you better make it fair. With a hint of lust in her voice as Angel rubbed some soap on Nan's breast. Naruto groaned as he felt himself being turned on even more when both of them started to kiss, and he tried to get free but couldn't. Each one moved closer toward him and made to kiss him, but when he went to make contact they pulled back and each took one of his balls in their hands and started to rub. He was in a mixture of pain and pleasure and wanted more. After several moments of this, both women smiled at him and shooshined away as a blast of ice-cold water hit him, causing him to scream out in frustration. About 5 minutes later, Nan came into the shower dressed and kissed him and said, I'm sorry but we can't do anything until the exams. We have to go now. As she turned off his water and walked out of the room. Angel came in a moment later, also dressed, and kissed him also, as she said, we would hate to disobey our fiancé's wishes. As she cut the wire holding him in place and shunshin away before he could do anything. When he walked out of the bathroom, he looked around for them and saw a book on the table and a note. He picked up a note and read, Dear Naruto-kun, we're sorry to leave you hanging, but if you're still hard up, you can always try to relax with some light reading or hand exercises for stress. Love, the Fox and the Weasel. Naruto looked at the book and groaned as he saw Ika Ika Paradise on the cover. About 3 miles away from Konoha, Nan asked, do you think we were a little mean? Angel said, no, remember what he did to you the first day you met. Nan said, oh yeah. Payback's a bitch. Even if it comes from something other than a dog. As laughter echoed in the forest. Hayashi always considered himself a proud man from a proud clan, but with what he read and heard yesterday from Naruto takes the cake. He spent most of the night in the Hyuga archives, and he came across something he never would have dreamed. The true origins of the Hyuga bloodline. Just as Naruto had shown him. It was because of this that he now stood in front of the Hokage's door and entered his office. The third looked up from his paperwork and said, "Hello Hayashi, what can I do for you today?" Hayashi said, "I need your help with a problem." 3 hours later, the third Hokage stood on the balcony of the Hokage Tower looking at the citizens below. He still can't believe this is about to happen, but it was required. He cleared his throat when he saw everything was ready, and said, "People of Konoha, I have recently been given some information of a conspiracy that nearly caused the destruction of Konoha, making mummers go out throughout the crowd. The third said, I have placed Abnu around the area to ensure the ones responsible will not be able to escape. As many of you know, 9 years ago we signed a peace agreement with the Cloud Village. As some of you know, that was a trap so they could kidnap the heiress to the Hyuga clan. The new information that has been brought to my attention revealed that not only was Konoha made a fool in the matter, but the Hyuga clan as well. The information I received gave not only detailed reports of the guard schedule at the Hyuga compound but also blueprints as well as times to enter the compound without being seen. There was also detailed reports on the security of the village. Now many of you probably understand that all that information could only come from someone inside of Konoha. That is correct, and as such, the ones responsible are now considered traitors to Konoha. Their goal was to ensure the death of Konoha shinobi, and also an act of revenge for what they felt was unfair treatment in their former home, and they planned for Konoha and Cloud to destroy each other. They are none other than the 6 elders of the Hyuga Council themselves. Making everyone gasp as suddenly the 6 men dart away trying to escape only to be publicly killed by Abnu and Hyuga branch members. After the 6 men were dead, the third said, "Now that they are dead, I have some more news. Hayashi Hyuga has announced that by the end of the year all the seals on the Hyuga branch family will be removed, and the seal that Minato Namikaze created to unite the Hyuga clan will be placed on all members of the Hyuga clan, as there will no longer be 2 houses. This is a great day for the Hyuga clan and a great day for the village of Konoha. Destroy those traitors' bodies." As he walked back inside the tower, leaving a shocked and stunned group of citizens, Naruto smiled as he looked out of his window and said, "So what do you think, Kakashi?" As he turned to see Kakashi sitting in a chair in his apartment. Kakashi shook his head and said, "You play a dangerous game, kid." Naruto said, "Oh, but the real fun just began." Kakashi asked, "You know anything about what happened to Sasuke?" Naruto looked confused and asked what happened to the team. Kakashi sighed and said he had a mental breakdown. Naruto sighed and said, "I guess the pressure of not having Itachi to focus on is making him crack. It's not healthy for him to live in his clan's grounds. I think it should be destroyed and built new." Kakashi said, "So do I, but we can't until Sasuke takes possession as clan head." Naruto said, "If Kakashi Nan could take over as clan head any time." Kakashi said, "True, but then she would have to reveal herself." Naruto nods and asked, "So, when are you and Rin getting married?" Kakashi said, "We decided to do it while in wave. Have sensei do it." Naruto smiles and said, "I will let him know." Kakashi said, "I was wondering, how good is your wind manipulation?" Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. The next day Naruto stood on training ground 13 and asked, "So what is it you want me to do again, Kakashi?" Guy came running up with his team that seemed to be panting, and Kakashi said, "Guy, I have a challenge for you." Making all of Team 9 wide-eyed as Kakashi never challenges Guy. Guy asked, "What is the youthful challenge you have for me, Kakashi?" "I shall prove youth conquers all." Naruto shapeshifts into a 100-year-old man with a cane and said, "Now listen here, young whippersnapper, don't make me beat you silly with this stick for shouting those youthful woo-ha." As he hit Guy over the head with the cane before he changed back, ignoring the snickering of everyone. Kakashi said, "Right, Guy, here is my challenge. You have bragged how your student Tenten never misses at thrown weapons." "Correct." Guy said, "Yes, my eternal rival, her youthfulness shines brightly to give her perfect aim." Kakashi smiled and said, "My challenge is this. Tenten can throw as many weapons as she wants and has to try and get blood from Naruto here. Naruto will not be allowed to move from a 3-foot circle. If she cannot get blood from him with a long-range weapon attack, then I win the challenge. Do you accept?" Guy looked at Tenten and said, "I accept, Kakashi. Let's do this." Naruto said, "You do realize I will have my revenge for this." as he was put into a 3-foot circle on the ground. Tenten said, I can't do this. He will be hurt. Naruto said, you're that confident, huh? Tell you what. I will make this even more challenging. If you can't hit me while I am blindfolded, then you have to go out on a date with the boy in green spandex. However, should you hit me and draw blood, then I will pay for you an entire month at the hot spring. Do you accept chicken, or are you too scared to be a real female ninja like Tsunade? He filled the area and sent chills down everyone's back as Naruto stood there smirking, pulling out a blindfold from his pocket and tying it around his eyes. Tenten asked, you ready to bleed, Blondie? Naruto said, you ready to date the jolly green giant? With a smirk on his face. Neji thought, fuck drawing blood, she going to kill him, as he saw her pull out 2 scrolls and started doing hand signs and bit her thumb before saying twin rising dragons. As she jumped into the air and started throwing weapons at Naruto, who smirked and spun in a circle one time while screaming Rasengan Katen, stopping facing forward like he had the first time, as a huge shield of chakra and wind forms around him, shocking everyone. Neji said, that's. Naruto said, it's the combination of the Hyuga Katen and my father's Rasengan. However, unlike the Hyuga one where you have to keep spinning, I only have to spin one time. It is the ultimate defense as well as the ultimate offense, as weapons are bounced off of the shield still with the blindfold on. Kakashi asked, what do you mean offense, Naruto? Having never seen anything like that and could not copy it. Naruto said, simple, what happens when you break a Rasengan? Kakashi was wide-eyed and said, I see. Guy asked, what happens, Kakashi? Kakashi said, as you know, Guy, the Rasengan grinds the internal organs of the person it comes into contact with. However, if you break the shell of the Rasengan, all the destructive nature of it is channeled out of the spot it breaks, destroying everything in its path. In other words, all that chakra would destroy whatever was able to break it. I only know one jutsu that could break it, and that Chidori, and if I did, it would kill me. Making Guy realize exactly how strong that is. Tenten soon lands panting and Naruto cancels the technique while doing hand signs and said Kamaitachi, as Tenten used chakra strings to try and make them hit again as they are blown away. Naruto smirks and asked, do you yield, because I count you missed 400 times just now since you tried 2 times with 200 weapons. Everyone was stunned and Tenten asked how. Naruto said, your weapons are good, but if you ever face a wind user, then you will miss every time. By the way, I heard from Kakashi that you don't use taijutsu since you don't like the academy style or the iron fist style of guys here. If you want, I can get you Tsunade's taijutsu scrolls to learn so you have something to fall back on if your weapons fail again. As he pulls off his blindfold and everyone is shocked as his red eyes turn blue. Guy asked, what was with your eyes? Naruto said, if I channel chakra to my eyes they turn red, but the problem is if I channel chakra to one of my senses they all receive some, so when I channeled them to my ears to hear the weapons coming my eyes got some also. As he walked toward the others, Naruto suddenly disappeared and reappeared beside Lee and said, so what's your story, Green Bean? As he looked at Lee was shocked at his speed and asked, how are you so fast? Naruto pulled out a book and flipped it open and said, You say something. Making nearly everyone face fault. Guy turned to Kakashi and asked, have you taken on a student? Kakashi, who was reading, said, You say something. Making everyone look between Naruto and Kakashi. Tenten narrowed her eyes and asked, why does a guy read a female romance novel? As she tried to figure out some way to get some respect back. Naruto flipped the book closed and showed her the back that showed a picture of the author and smiled as she got wide-eyed. He said, I was just checking the newest volume and making sure the editor did not take something away from what I wrote. Here. It's got some good date ideas for you, and spandex, by the way, what's your name? As he tossed her the book and then looked at Lee, Tenten gaped, and Lee said, your youthfulness burns brightly. My name is Rock Lee, and I challenge you. Naruto said, taijutsu only. Making everyone wonder why he would not use ninjutsu or genjutsu. Lee said, very well. I accept. Let's have a good match. Naruto held his hand looking at Guy and Kakashi and asked, any limitation on what we can do? Kakashi said, Naruto, you're still technically an academy student, but please don't do anything that will kill him. Naruto said so, in other words, no gates Hiraishin or destructive combos. Making everyone look at him questionably. Guy said, Lee, do not underestimate this person. Naruto, who is about 30 feet from Lee, said, Lee, take your weights off, because if I drop mine this will be over before you have a chance to. As he got into a stance that made Guy wide-eyed. He asked, how do you know the Uchiha interceptor stance? Naruto said, I only know 4 styles of taijutsu, one is brawling, one is the academy, one is the Uchiha interceptor, and the last is the hummingbird. I don't want to kill him, and since I can pretty much guess how much weight he has on, I know brawling and academy won't work. As he stood ready to fight. Guy said, but without the Sharingan you won't be able to use it properly. Naruto said, perhaps. Shall we begin? Guy said, Lee, take your weights off. Making the rest of his team look at him like he was crazy. Lee only had 200 pounds on each leg so far, but the increase in his speed was crazy. Lee nods and takes off his weights, and Naruto bites his thumb and reaches for the tattoo on his wrist and said 90. As he shifts his neck from left to right and said, let's begin. Lee charges forward and goes for a punch, and Naruto blocks it and send one to Lee gut, only for Lee to jump back and Naruto follow through with a leg sweep, taking Lee's hands out he used as a springboard, causing him to fall on the ground. Naruto appeared above him with his finger pushed against the bridge of his nose and said, that was good, Lee. Shocking everyone, including Kakashi. In less than 3 seconds he had beat someone who was gaining the rumor of the second coming of Guy. Guy said, I see you really can use the interceptor style. You say that you know hummingbird as well. Naruto nods and said, yes, though I dislike using it with Hiraishin. It's too slow. Making everyone look at him like he was crazy. Kakashi asked, what do you mean Hiraishin too slow? Naruto said, how about I show you what I mean? All 5 of you grab 10 stones and put them in a pile in front of you. Kakashi, use your Sharingan to prove what I am about to do. Get around the clearing and let me know when you are all ready. I will then say starting, and you see how long it takes for me to run 10 laps around this field. Everyone was looking at him like he was crazy, and Neji activated his bloodline and Kakashi his Sharingan. They all gathered 10 stones each and one by one said ready as they were at least 100 yards across from each other. Naruto bit his thumb and touched the seal on his wrist and said 1. Ready or not, here I come. Suddenly a stone disappeared in front of Neji as a Naruto appeared in front of him while the original was there, then 1 in front of Kakashi, 10 Lee Guy, then Neji again as a second one appear, and on around as 2 were seen around, and so on and so forth until there was 10 Naruto standing in front of each, and then Naruto said done. In less than 3 seconds, as everyone was gaping. Kakashi and Neji were floored as the images started to disappear, and Guy asked, what was that, Naruto? Naruto said, I call it flash step. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. There is also a link in the description to my Patreon. It has Naruto fanfiction that cannot be posted on YouTube. There is some free content on there. So, you don't have to be a paying member to enjoy listening to excellent fanfiction.